What's up, man? It's good to see you.
Great to be seen.
Nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah. So
Appreciate it.
tell me about the provocateur.
Provocateur is the guy we call who has dialed up his 5 dials.
Okay.
He's a man who provokes his wife to lust after him, to want to be him. And ultimately, my 100-year vision is that moms in 100 years will tell their daughters, don't marry anything else other than a provocateur. Like, if you want a dude that's going to like continue to be his best, you got to get a provocateur. So like that's the cultural frame that I'm seeing it through.
So I mean, what you really do, right, is I feel like I know I don't know you well, but I know you well enough, and I think that you do what you do, right, because you want to create happy couples.
Yeah.
Right? You want to create what you and Jesse have, right? Yeah. But you and Jesse, it hasn't always been so. So tell me about this.
Yeah, so about 7 years ago, Jesse, about 6.5 years ago, Jesse was like, dude, you run your business, you come home and talk about your business, and you fall asleep on the couch. And that's not what we signed up for. I had a 2-year-old daughter at the time, Jovi, who's 9 now. And so, yeah, about 7 years ago. And she's like, that doesn't work for me. That's not what we agreed upon. And then like the real punchline came out where she was like, dude, my life would be better without you in it. I mean, talk about a Hallmark greeting card. She really was just like, I can't do this anymore. And she left, man. So we were moving into our dream home, and she says, I'm going to help you move in, but I'm not staying. And so when I got everything unpacked, all put away and everything, and then we just kind of took her stuff and moved it from a bigger U-Haul truck and then put it into a small U-Haul truck, and they drove off. And
what was that moment like for you?
Dude, I felt like the biggest failure ever, because this would be now my second divorce. And I was just like, dude, son of a bitch. Like, I remember, the street we lived on had like 8 homes on it. And believe it or not, Mr. T was one of our neighbors.
No.
Yeah, I swear to God.
He
Yeah.
was pitying the fool.
Yeah, he was pitying the fool, man. And so we never saw him at that house. We actually never got to see him, but our neighbors were like, yeah, that's his place. So I actually never saw him. But boy, I wish I would have, because talk about growing up like as a person, the A-Team and Rocky, all the
100%,
things.
100%, yeah.
But the whole cul-de-sac had pavers, and like sometimes there's a little bit of rock, you can hear the tire. I remember that sound distinctly of that, was hearing the tires of the U-Haul. So like, those things, when those moments you hit, that was what was going through. I'm like, this is number 2. What a fucking failure. That's what I felt.
Jeez, man. Looking back on it, were there breadcrumbs before that, before she actually said anything out loud? Like, were there subtle things that came up?
So it turns out she was like planning the exit for like a year. And planning meaning like, I don't know if I can do this. And she says I was dropping hints. But so looking back now, I could go, dude, there were so many. But in the time, I didn't understand that women speak covertly and men speak overtly. I didn't understand that, I didn't understand a lot of the things she said, but she also enabled a lot of my inadequacies. Like, oh, you know what? He's had a hard day. He's running a business. So she would try and like, I don't want to say coddle me, but try and like, maneuver around me, thinking, well, he's this, but all the while the standard was dropping, and she came to a point where it's like, I just can't, this standard that you've gotten to right now, this is it. So yes, there were breadcrumbs looking back now, but it felt like a frying pan to the face, man. I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? So
and so when you responded that way, what kind of detail did she give you beyond just beyond saying like, hey, this is not what we agreed upon, this is not what I signed up for? Like, was there more detail that she gave you?
Yeah, once we sat down, because it happened over FaceTime, believe it or not.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I was at a mastermind with a couple of my buddies, and there was like, I don't know, 100 people there. And do you know Garrett Gunderson at all?
I've heard the name. I just can't put it in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was there, and I was having a fantastic time, and I was actually on a walk with a couple of guys, and I was really like convicted that I wasn't showing up to be the dad I needed to be. And which is interesting that, with the dad edge, but I was like, you know what? I'm not as present as I need to be. Like, I got some things I need to really grow upon. So I shot them each a video, sending them like a heartfelt message, like, you know what? I recognize I need to be a better dad. And I apologize for that.
So you sent this to her?
I sent this to the kids.
To the kids, okay.
Because I had 3 kids with my first marriage, and they're like, 25, 23, and 20 now. But 7 years ago, they were those numbers minus 7. And then I FaceTimed her. Hey, I just sent this to the kids. Like, I'm having this cathartic moment. And that's when she's like, well, I hate to be a bummer, but I know you're flying home tomorrow. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be down in California at my mom's. And she would travel there quite a bit, but it was more like, I'm glad you're having this moment with you and your kids, because you're kind of going to need them. Because I know we're moving into it was our dream home in Las Vegas. But she's like, I can't stay. I'm to the end. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? And she's like, and don't fly down here and do one of your big grand gestures. And she's like, it's over, man. Yeah. And to her credit, like when we look back at the story, like Jessie truly was the MVP of the whole thing, because she's like, you are a shell of a man of who you used to be. You're a shell of a man of who I married in the beginning and who I fell in love with. So we can. I'm happy to drive the truck over me a lot because of how I look at how I used to be. But that was the actual moment of how it happened.
I'm putting myself in your shoes where you have this realization where you're like, wait a second. Because I think a lot of great things happen when you take a productive pause. You leave the house, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I flew out here to California to be on your show, and now you're on mine. But it gives you so much margin to zoom out from your everyday life, mm-hmm. And you're like, oh man, like there's so many things that I truly appreciate when I'm not there, and I can zoom out from it. But for you to have like that moment, man, where you were just like, oh, I realize this now. And then right away that like, well, I'm glad you realized that, but I mean, what did that feel like to you? I mean, it sounds like a dumb question, but I would just love for you to share some detail around it. I
felt super ashamed.
Yeah.
And the realizations that kept happening from there was, I was like, I was pretty entitled, thinking like, why would you ever leave me? I'm amazing. You know what I mean? We've got dough, we've got this, we've got that. Like we're moving into our dream house. Like, and that's how delusional I was, thinking I was this human being that I actually wasn't. So there was a tremendous amount of shame and embarrassment. And you're thinking, well, how could I be so blind? But that the exact same moment you're going, well, this is the person who actually knows me the best. And when if somebody says, I think my life is better without you in it, and they know you better than anyone, it was also very sobering to think, my immediate line is, I got to fly home immediately. And
right.
I literally booked a ticket and was out of where I was at in like an hour later. And she's like, don't fly. Like, please don't fly here. Like, don't be that guy. I know you want to be that guy. And I actually even flew to see her, but I was calling on the phone. She's like, please, like, I'm asking you, like, genuinely don't. Like, don't. God. And at that point, my trying to solve the problem really started kicking in. And I did everything wrong that I could have done wrong in terms of like pushing her away. So it was this, there was also this feeling of, I know it's too little too late, but let me just throw the Hail Mary. And so it was like all within a few hours. And then it kind of became this realization where I'm like, okay, I actually know I'm the problem. Because then she was able to articulate some things on the phone when I actually flew to California. And I was going to drive down to see her, and she's like, I'm like literally like asking you, do not do that. Just drive to Vegas, man. Like it really is over this time. And for me, she articulated like, Keith, I'm not a priority to you. I'm like maybe the top 5 priority, but if I am, I'm number 5. Your business takes priority. Your kids take priority. Your friends take priority. These things take priority. She goes, so that's number 1. Number 2. You don't and she was just basically she didn't articulate the 5 dials back then, but she's like, basically, you're a shit dad. You changed 6 diapers. I couldn't even leave our daughter overnight with you because I was afraid something might happen to her. I don't even want to have a second kid with you because you're so bad with the first one. She's like, how am I supposed to go through wanting to build a future with a dude I don't even want to have another kid with because you're such a bad dad. So I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. I just got done shooting videos for my other kids saying I'm probably not the greatest dad, and I wasn't. So like everything started, she goes, I'm lonely. I'm more lonely being married to you than if I was single. She goes, how heartbreaking. She goes, would you want to be in that relationship? I'm like, no, I guess I wouldn't. She goes, okay. She said specifically about the money, she goes, I don't even care about it. She had her dream car. I had my dream car. We were moving our dream house. She's like, I have to be with you to have that. I would rather not have that because I can't be with you. This is why I'm so honest about everything, because she was just like, and then she's like, I don't even have fun with you anymore. Because I was in the middle of building my business at that time, but it already I had built it to a point where it wasn't autopilot. I've never had an autopilot business, but it was like where people were running the things and it was doing really well. And so she's like, you could have all this free time, but you don't. And you don't even take me on dates anymore. Mm-hmm. She would literally go with her girlfriends and some of their husbands to go out dancing, and I wouldn't go.
So why wouldn't you go? Just out of curiosity.
I don't want to be in a late club. I want to get up early. I want to work out. I want to build my business. So it was like never.
Yeah.
It was like never. She goes, oh, one of the favorite artists that came in for a concert, and I'm like, what time does that show go on? And so she took her best friend, and they were out to like 2 or 3 having the time of their life at this show, and it was like the rapper of the game or something. It wasn't that guy, but it was something like that. And so just nothing. And then I was just needing validation all the time. And not only that, but physically I had gained like 40 or 50 pounds. So she met me on like 185 pound tiger meat wrapped in barbed wire. By the time she left, I think I was like 245.
Wow, man.
And looked as pregnant as she looked when she had our baby. So she was just like, I don't know what to tell you to change all this, but you're going to have to figure that out on your own, because I'm done trying to tell you, and I'm done waiting around.
Was she like more, was she of the, like the delivery, right? Was she like stone cold? Like, I am at this point.
Yeah.
Like, you go do you. Like, there's no coming back from this. Or did you send? So my second question was.
That was it, though. But whatever the second one is, let's hear it.
So it's obviously, I was like, or did you sense like, but I really hope you kind of come around, or was it just okay?
No,
so
we had broken up like 2 years into our relationship. I had broken up with her, and we had gone, at times where I'd call my best friend and go, I think I married the wrong person. And he's like, well, what do you mean by that? But he could see me sliding into my decay as well.
Right.
So he knew me. He's known me since I was 14. So he knew what an on fire, in shape, connected Keith was, and I just wasn't that.
Yeah.
So when I would call and complain about her, it would be kind of like, well, but have you considered her point? Fuck her point, man. Come on, whose side are you on? Like, all the dumb shit I said. That guys who come into married gay now that I hear, I go, oh, I said that. I actually said it worse. Let me tell you what I said. They're like, you said that? I'm like, that's how bad I was. I missed, 2 weeks before she left, I missed Mother's Day.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that's where she was like, she said that was the last straw for her. She's like, oh, dude, this guy.
Right.
That's like the end. We had a kid for 2 years. Year and a half, 2 years. So it's like, it wasn't the first Mother's Day, it was like her second Mother's Day.
Wow.
So like, my credibility is based on how deep and dark of the pit I went into. And because people are like, how are you credible? I'm like, I just fucked it up worse than all you guys. That's my credibility.
Well, I think that
at first.
Right, at first. But the thing is that, well, number one, I can understand why people want to work with you. Because I think one of the things that bonds, someone who's helping somebody through something is, have you felt the same pain I'm feeling right now? That's a question. And then, but but then it's like, well, wait a second, this guy's actually felt more and he still made it out.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to, the sound of the tires,
Okay.
right? You see her drive off, and I'll admit, man, I'm in a season right now where I got a really big slice of humble pie from a very good friend and somebody who I give a lot of credibility to. It wasn't my wife. It was a friend. But the feedback was very profound, and it was correct.
Mm.
And it was, are you cool if I share it with you?
Yeah, please.
The feedback was this. So I've been going like guns blazes with what we do, right? And it has really blown up. And it's blown up so much so that, and I'm not sharing this because I'm bragging about it. I'm sharing it because I think a lot of people, I remember wishing for this kind of stuff, but like every time I go to my email, my DMs, somebody's texting or calling or whatever, and it's just, I felt like for a while there, and I would say yes to everything. That was the problem. I would say yes to everything because I felt that I needed to constantly serve. I felt like that was my job. And if I wasn't constantly serving others, I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then when I would get around, friends that I felt safe with, and even my family, like I would sort of deflate and like not decompress and do anything horrible, but I would just kind of become more like the 20% of what I am. Mm-hmm. Right. And I thought in a way like, oh my gosh, it's been like, I felt like my workday felt like going into a room with 200 people and they're all tapping you on the shoulder and be like, hey man, I need something. Hey, I need something. Hey, you got a minute? Hey, I need this. Hey, I need this. Right. And it got exhausting. But to me, when I was in it, kind of like I'm thinking like your situation, it made total sense for me to keep doing that. Yeah. And then the friend of mine, his feedback were like kind of the same as what Jesse told you, but differently. He was just like, you're not the same guy. Like you're like sort of like this shell of a human being that you were before. Like I can tell like you're overworked and this is how you're showing up. And he gave very much a lot of detail. Oh, well,
keep that guy in your life.
Right. So I go to Jessica and this feedback hit me hard and she's like, what's wrong? And I said, read this. And she's like, wow, that's blunt. And I was like, yeah. Do you agree? And she's like, a little. And I'm like, ooh. Then I went to other good friends, trusted friends, right? Because I've always felt like I had to be like on, right? On just serving everyone at the highest level. Went to another close friend of mine, my neighbor, who's one of my good friends. And I'm like, I need to talk to you. He's like, about what? And I was like, I have a feeling I need to apologize to you. And he's like, about what? And I showed him. I was like, read that. He's like, yeah, I totally agree with that. And I'm like, Then I went to my kids. And I said, I want you to read this. Do you agree? And my kids were like, my older boys, and it's probably because we have such a tight relationship, they're like, not really. They're like, you're pretty on point around us. Like I don't know if I agree with that. And I went to my 9-year-old and I kind of like put it in his words. And he's like, sometimes I talk to you and I feel like you're not really there. And I'm like, dude, and this happened last night. I fucking broke down, dude. I was just like, oh, and because I get where you're at. Because in the moment you're like, well, I'm supposed to do this. And like, if I'm not doing it this way, then I'm not doing the right things. And what's actually happening is you ain't doing the right things. Yeah. But you're doing it in other areas that you shouldn't be. So like, I relate to that story big time. And the reason I ask you about that moment where she drove off is because I feel that I'm kind of in that season myself a little bit and repairing some very close relationships to me is that you start to think, you start to think and you just rewind the freaking tape. And you're like, holy shit, like how could I not have seen this for what it was? You know what I mean? So, sorry, I just, now I'm repairing a lot of really important relationships to me because I've quite frankly have just kind of overworked myself. But for you, there had to be that moment where you started analyzing, well, if she feels this way, what else have I done? Mm-hmm. Was there anything that came out of the woodwork for you?
Well, that feeling you're talking about where you're like, I got to do some repairing, that's exactly the mode I went into with her, except she's like, no, I mean, I did PowerPoint presentations, I wrote songs, I recorded songs, I did all that type of stuff. But when I reached out to my closest friends, Dan Martell, Pete Vargas at the time, and my buddy Aaron, I was so broken, but they all pretty much were like, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. So that was when it became so real that it felt like I was eventually just put into a corner, and it's like, now you got nowhere to run. Now you're going to have to face this truth. What are you going to do about it? And I look back now and I go, it was super painful. There's a couple more moments after that were also really painful, and trying to, like, when she actually did move back, like, it was super fucking awkward for like 6 weeks. Really? Like, we didn't even have sex. It was really weird. And I remember thinking to myself, like, these were the exposing moments where I'm like, all right, well, all the change that you said you were going to do, now you actually have to do it. But the motivation was, it eventually came to not get her back and to not, like, win my friends back over, because they weren't really that pissed, because, you know, actually some of them were like, we could see you being this way with Jesse, but I was not that way with them. They're like, dude, you're actually a really good friend. I go, yeah, Jesse wouldn't say the same thing about me. So and she was like, a couple of my friends were higher priority to me than she was, is what she articulated to me. So it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm the problem. Like, I had to finally accept I'm the problem. That was, I think, probably the first time ever in my life I realized I'm the problem. And I since have looked back and go, I was kind of raised to think I was a victim, interestingly enough. Like, even though I was raised in a household where we didn't believe in victims, as I look back now, a lot of the even though the talk was we're not victims, the actual actions were we're victims.
Can you explain that a little bit? Like, the actions?
If I didn't make a starting thing on a particular sports team, what's wrong with the coach?
Oh. Okay.
You see, like, so
yeah.
We're not victims, but that is the biggest victim mentality ever. We growing up, we had a bunch of money, and then markets shifted, and these bad deals, and it was these bad deals that we lost our money. So it was the bad deals. You know what I mean? We would be rich too, but we had bad deals. So it's like, doesn't sound like victims, but does sound like a victim. So it's like those types of things. And hey, Keith, whatever you do, don't ever grow up digging ditches for another human. Okay, why not? Well, because we're better than that. Well, I found myself in Montana when I was 19 years old digging ditches in the middle of the snow to just provide for my family. And, you know, there's like all these things like, well, apparently we're not too good for this because I'm doing this. So it was like a lot of these mentalities that were given to me that caused me to be so, I just say it was delusional. Like, I could say blind. I actually think it was more delusion. Like, I was just like, we're good, we're fine. At that point, I had already had sex with hundreds of women, so I thought I was the catch, only to find out the person that caught me was like, threw me back. It was like, you are not the catch. So it was just embarrassing, man.
Yeah.
It was just embarrassing. But then it also led to, recently I've discovered that embarrassment is the alarm clock to expansion. It's the thing that opens your eyes to go, oh, wait a second. Hold on. I'm exposed here. I don't like this feeling. Why do you not like the feeling? Well, because if we all got to see what we're really looking at, the truth, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then that led me to go, okay, if I'm the problem, I'm the solution. And that became like my mantra every day. I'm the problem, I'm the solution. Okay, well, so I went and hired 3 coaches. I did all the things. But it was like I had to finally, she eventually had to say, can you please stop texting me? Can you please stop reaching out? Like, it was, and she goes, unless you want to talk about our daughter. Yeah, wow. Because like I've always been able to pull it together. This time there was no pulling together. It was like, it's done.
So I'm so curious, 3 coaches, if I'm the problem, I'm the solution. What were the things that bubbled to the surface right away that you're like, oh shit, like I gotta that's there. I got to work on that. What were 2 or 3 things?
Why wouldn't I take her dancing?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? I'm curious about that.
Just out too late.
Yeah.
I don't want to hang out with Vegas Club. I got a business to build. I'm doing stuff. I'm important.
What was your business at the time?
Real estate investing,
Okay.
raising private money. I had an education business teaching guys how to raise private money. So like the coaching world, I knew of because I was like, since I was 18 years old, I've been hiring coaches for anything I wanted to learn. And then I grew up basically 15. I got saved. And so I had pastors and mentors. Like you always had a pastor, a mentor, a leader, a teacher to like hack how to learn what you needed to learn. So as soon as she left, I was like, okay, clearly I suck at this. I need to get a coach. So, but what bubbled up for me was like, oh, you're trying to get her back. And even if you got her back, you're still the same human being. So she would leave again. So it was like, because I had learned after, my journey is a little interesting, being a pastor and then getting a divorce and then walking away from the church and these types of things, and then learning pickup and saying, oh, well, I want to go do this. I was like, I always thought I could figure it out. I always kind of had the I'll figure it out. You have the same spirit in you, obviously, like why you started Dad Edge and all this stuff. Like, oh, I can figure that out. But it was the biggest blow to my system because she moved, and after she moved, then she eventually found a different guy. And so like it was like oof. it was Jesse's not ugly, and Jesse has options. And when she realized I'm done with Jovi's dad, that's all yours, Jovi's dad. It was just the coaches started to make him realize, they're like, dude, you're not actually a catch. Oh my God. How fucking humbling is that, man? And if you look at the pictures, I wasn't a catch. Like it was. Why would anybody want to be around you? Like this is why I actually notice you're softer on guys than I am. And I'm gonna look and they're like, well, let me give some guys some credit here. I think I am less that way because of how delusional I really was, and I needed the real slap of reality. And now my best friends, we are so blunt with each other. Jesse's like, dude, you guys are kind of mean to each other. I go, yeah, but we know that you won't say this, and it's true. Like Garrett and I are like, hey, have you seen this pattern in your life? And you're like, which one? like the pattern, motherfucker. It's this, and this. And they're like, yeah, I know that pattern. They're like, you gonna ever change it, or do we have to live with that do we have to live with your pattern for the rest of our life? Like that's how we talk to each other. So now I've gone on the other end. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Hey, bro, you're 30 pounds overweight. Like, when were you going to address that? Is she not supposed to see that? Like, let's be honest. So I'm noticing the dynamic of how you talk to and say it, and how because I needed that. I needed this delusional, entitled, victimized punk, Keith, to be smacked like awake. That's what happened to me.
So having that type of approach, like that, basically smack upside the back of the head, right? At first, so as you're talking me through this, the thing that I just sort of envisioned in my own head, and it's kind of why I smiled, is like, you've heard the term, I just ate a slice of humble pie. Mm-hmm. I see you like pulling up to this buffet and all there is humble pie, like everywhere you go.
That would be a funny like sitcom like
right,
scene.
Right. Yeah. Just like they just keep coming. Like just keep coming.
Dude, it was it got even worse. Like it.
So yeah, tell me.
So we sit down. I'm hiring I hired 3 coaches on how to get her back, and basically all I learned from them, which I didn't actually believe they went through what I went through, but their psychology, the way they talked about the psychology of, really basically people only want what they can't have. Like that creates a desire. And I realized I was throwing myself so headlong into getting Jesse back that it made me look super desperate, super needy.
Right.
And
which, by the way, is so sexy to a woman.
Yeah, dude, nothing's killed more lady boners ever than that. You know what I mean? So this neediness, desperation was this vibe, and it was such a huge turnoff.
Yeah.
And then I had to realize, okay, hold on. So this is what I gathered from these 3 coaches, which will answer this question. I was like, all right, so if I want to move on, I got to move on. And if I want to get her back, I got to move on.
Got to move on. Yeah.
Growing up playing football, I was like, we have a 1-page playbook. Why don't you just tell me that? Our very first session, Keith, you got to move on and become the most attractive version for yourself. Like, become the guy. And if you become the guy, I got to a point where Jessie was like, I'm fast forwarding a little bit.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know if he's going to take me back. That's how much work and how focused I got. I'm like, I've got to become the best version of me. I'm going all in on this. And I had to get over. I had to get over because, dude, I would. Here's where it got worse. I would go to the gym on like a Monday, and I would do like 3 chest days in one day. I'd work.
Monday is International
It's
Chest
International
Day.
Chest Day. I'm like, I got to catch up. So I would do chest day. I would go in the sauna for like as long as I could handle it, and then cry. And then I would jump in the pool and swim laps, and then I would sit on the bench and cry. And then I would jump back in the sauna, and I would do that, and I'd be like, you know what? I need to hit my chest again. I would do my chest again. Then I would go upstairs, and I'd run around the track, and then I'd jump on the cardio machine. Then I'd go back in this. I would be there for like 6 hours.
Oh, my God.
I was just like, I can't, because here's the other thing, too. Like, my context of what I lost, I wasn't like a guy that was like, oh, I've never really sampled the fare out there. I don't know. Is there other women out there? I had done all that for years. Like, I was fully acquainted with what the female species had to offer. And I realized, dude, you didn't just like mess up. You royally pushed the best human being you've ever met, female-wise, away. So it was like this double heaping of like, dude, you really didn't just kind of mess up here. You done did fucked up, Yackey. So she gets back. This is where it gets even worse. She gets back, and we hire a coach on how to work through this. And the guy goes, okay, well, let's just start off for maybe write down 3 things that you are positive about your partner. And we're both sitting there going, oh, I'm thinking, well, she's cute, and she's a good cook, and she's a really cool chick, and blah, blah, blah. And she, like, writes one thing down.
What was it? Do you remember?
100%.
Yeah.
It's the punchline of the story. And the guy goes, well, what do you got, Jessie? And she goes, he's trying.
Oh, God. I have another slice of humble pie. It's right here for you.
Yes, this one with whipped cream on it. It was so bad, man. It was so bad. 6 weeks into this thing, she moves back. She still has boxes packed into the still boxes in the closet. So she's not 100% unpacked.
Right.
We're 6 weeks in, and we're laying in bed. This is where it gets the story gets a little interesting. And I'm kind of just sitting there like, well, why did she even come back? Like, it's so awkward now. Like, we would kiss, but it'd be like, hey, you know, like, I think we're supposed to do, our coach said we should probably hug once a day. Like, that's how awkward it was. And I'm laying in bed. This is 6 weeks, and she's back, and her foot touches me in bed. And I just started bawling. Like, genuinely, like, dude, I'm the biggest loser on planet Earth. I got a girl that's back. I don't even know if she's really back. She's still got shit in the fucking closet she hasn't unpacked. And I'm like, I wonder if she still is thinking about the other guy she left to come back to be with me. And like, there's all this insecurity, all this stuff riddling through my brain. And right at that moment, I feel like God speaks to me. This is why it gets so interesting. And he's like, you're going to help millions of dudes solve this problem. And it wasn't like I was like, well, of course I am. It was like, A, I haven't solved it. This feels like the furthest thing from solving this problem. B, I think you have the wrong door. Like, this is not the right house. Like, it's not solved, and I feel as ashamed and as low and as desperate as I've ever felt. And she's been back for 6 weeks.
That's probably why you felt that calling in that moment.
Dude, so talk about all the humble pie.
Yeah.
Man, it was like a conveyor belt of humble pie. Conveyor belt.
So I'm just so curious. So, okay, let's go to the part where, you know, she touches your foot, or she touches you with her foot. You have that moment, and you're like, yeah, this is, you know, whatever. How long had you been working with the coaches?
Like 6 weeks.
Okay. So obviously they're like, okay, here's the first thing. You need to move on, right? Not only, and for you, what were some of the things that you started doing to get you to move forward? Because I can imagine what most people, you know, you work with them and so do I, they've been stuck in that spot for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, they don't even know that they're stuck there. They just know that they're fighting for the place that they don't want to be in anymore, but they don't necessarily know what good looks like. They just don't want to be here anymore.
That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah. But what was like, I think for people in that situation, because when I started Dad Edge, that was my situation as well. What were the first few things that, like, what were the small micro wins that you start to get?
Yeah. Okay. So it's so crazy to look back now at, like, I'm sure even with your most humbling experience as of the last day or two.
Right. Yeah. 24 hours.
Yeah. Like, but you even know, you can look back and how far you've come. Okay. So yeah, you tripped and skidded your knee, and a bunch of your friends are like, yeah, Larry, you could pick it up in that area. But you have a track record to look back on and be like, how far you've come from where you were. Is that fair to say?
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay. So I did not have that in any way, shape, or form. So looking back now, my movements and my steps of action almost look silly. When I say them, they're going to probably seem very silly, but they seemed monumental in the moment.
Sure.
So the simple fact of actually, like, changing my daughter's diaper and hanging out with her for just 2 hours so Jessie could go take a bath and, like, not have to worry about her daughter. That was like, I'm doing it. Oh my God, dude, somebody get a video to send this to Jessie. Like, that was me doing it. Going to the store. This sounds so stupid. Yeah, like, this is the fact that we're in the married game man cave right now, and I'm telling you this was me, is pretty hilarious. And you're only the third interview that's ever happened in here, interviewing me.
Really?
And and this is really, you've dug in very deep. Most people are like, okay, now that you got her back, what do you do here? But you're taking me to a part where we don't talk very much about. So for one reason is I feel like, who wants to really, like, now my story is my story, but if I can't help you, you only want to know it so I can help you, but you probably want to fix it, so let's help you fix it. But and thanks for indulging this, because this is a very interesting, like, I didn't even know, hey, if your mother-in-law is coming out, why don't, like, if she's going to fly out to hang out with you, because at the time Jessie was in California, and I would say, hey, why don't I fly Jovi and your mom out? Or maybe she could drive her up, and I could see my Jovi every other weekend, because I'm like, I gotta be in this girl's life somehow. And it was like a big step for me to be like, oh, you know what? I know she loves People magazine, and I know she loves Diet Pepsi, so I should go to the store and get that. That's it. Those were my earliest steps forward of actually thinking about somebody else other than me.
It sounds oversimplified, but those are the things that move the needle.
They are the
right.
They are the things.
They are the things, because I think as men, right, it's like, I'm either gonna go 90 miles an hour, or I'm not gonna leave the garage.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm either gonna go work out for 7 hours and hit chest 3 times, or not go to the gym.
Yeah.
But it's these, because here's the psychology I think for women is that when you did that, like, Jessie was probably like, oh my God, you were thinking of me.
Exactly right.
Like, you had me on your mind, and it was the simplest thing. But like, when I come home from the gym early in the morning, and if I come home with a vanilla latte from Starbucks, like, Jessica's like, oh,
thank
you are the best. And I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like, it's a coffee, right? In my male brain, but she's like, oh my God, like, this just makes my morning so much better. But okay, so we have, like, these little wins that are happening, and also things are quite a bit awkward and that kind of thing. But when did you start to maybe get a glimpse of, like, maybe things are starting to kind of come around?
So when Jessie was away, when I say she's away, it almost sounds like she was on a trip. When Jessie left and wasn't coming back, I would have Jovi come up like every other weekend, or I'd try and fly her on the weekend, or I would have her mom drive her up, or I'd go see her. So one of the things we would do in this beautiful new dream house of ours is I would start grilling. That was the other thing, is I used to never grill. I don't really grill anymore. Jessie really likes grilling now, so it's like that's her thing. And so I don't want to take it away from her, even though she thinks it's manly to go grill. And I'm just like, dude, let's go to a steakhouse, you know, but I get it. So we did this thing with my daughter. She was about 3 at the time, and they were gone for a total, I think, about 5 or 6 months. So I came up with this grilling and chilling thing. I was like, why don't I just grill? And then the jacuzzi was like really close to it. It's like, if I could grill and put everything on a plate, we could sit and eat in the jacuzzi, and it kind of had a, you know, like a bar to eat from. And like this, I was like, oh, this is it. This is, and I stopped saying this is it to try and get Jessie back, because it was that part. I was like, okay, I gotta get over that. I mean, I'd love to have her back, but I gotta get over that. But I was just like, I'm doing it. I'm actually being a present dad. I'm actually cooking for my daughter and sitting down and eating with her, and for no other reason than I'm just gonna connect with this little girl. And that was like actually the biggest shift, is where I learned what presence mean. Like, presence means I'm acting as if there's no other place I'd rather be than right there. And like, my energy's not out there. My energy's all, like, if somebody can tell when you're all in on a situation. And even Jessie had to remind me like 3 days ago. She's like, hey, are you all in? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I need to be. She says, last night you kind of weren't. I'm like, oh yeah, dude, I'm all in. And then, of course, when I'm all in, my daughter's hanging all over me. Jessie's all in me. Like, what's going on? Like, it's just a better vibe. But that's when I really learned that I needed to be radically present, and that the people around you, they just want you. Like, they want, tell me about you. And that was like where things started to really unfold. I'm like, dude, she just wants the littlest things to be thought of. She wants to be a priority. So did that answer your question?
It did. And I think one of the biggest takeaways, and just correct me if I'm wrong, is that the motivation to do it shifted. Yeah. It wasn't like, I'm going to be present so that, you know, for somebody else, yeah, right? Or so that hopefully I get a response of like, oh, here you are, like an attaboy. Yeah. You did it because that's what you do. Yeah. Yeah.
That was the biggest, those have always been the biggest shifts for me in every major inflection point in my life, is when I stop thinking about Keith and I like start thinking about, how am I showing up for other people for real? That was the biggest point in like my business. We were talking earlier on my podcast, but like my biggest point was like, what if I just serve them because that's what a leader does, and not serve them so I can get anything more out of them? Every time I've been like, what if I just become a great husband because I want to be a great husband, and like whatever comes from it is what comes from it. But I can look at myself in the mirror and be like, well done. Yeah. So every single time I started to realize more of that is when I realized, oh my God, I'm fixing the root of the tree, and the fruit of the tree is all this connection and intimacy and love that I wanted from Jessie that was no longer there. So the total shift of focus became everything.
So I love that shift of focus, because, I mean, you know, I still can't get you working out for like 6 hours out of my mind, right?
It's ridiculous. And crying and like sad.
Right. Ugh. But if you take like that same analogy, right? Like, so my boys, you know, like they used to, now my boys are just as addicted to the gym as I am. They love going to the gym, but they were like, why do you like going to the gym? Is it, you know, because of the aesthetics? And I'm like, to be honest, at my age, man, like it really doesn't have much to do with that. I mean, yes, of course I like to feel confident. It's all the other things that go with it. Mm-hmm. It's like, I can lay out like all my stress on the gym and not in these other areas, right? Yeah. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel masculine. Like I feel it's good for me. Like yeah. I'm not in the gym doing abs and working out chest because I want mom to be like all over me because of what I look like naked, right? I mean, that's a nice perk. Don't get me wrong, right? But that's not where the motivation is. Yeah. The motivation is like, if I'm in the gym, I feel better. And if I feel better, I'm going to be more productive. I'm going to have a better mindset. I'm going to have less brain fog, like all these other really great things that go with it. So the motivation becomes internal instead of like this external validation, right? Yeah. Okay, so we have all that going on. I would really love for you to, and by the way, this is awesome. I love it. Like I'm actually kind of giddy about this because I'm like, what am I going to go home and do now, right? Yeah. But for you, you know, so all in, you know, we hear this all the time. up to the point where like, so when guys join our program, there's an email that's sent to them from me, basically saying like, what do you want to achieve in 90 days? Right.
Yeah.
And here's what I hear all the time. And I love it, you know, because I think guys don't know what we don't know. And I just got an email this morning. I want to be more intentional with my wife. And I reply almost every single one of them. And I'm like, okay. I was like, number one, I want you to rewrite this sentence. And I want you to say, I want to be more intentional with my wife because fill in the blank, so that, because, and here is what I'm going to do because, right? Getting them very, very detailed with that. But for you, when you say I am all in, what does that look like with you and Jesse, like in an everyday setting?
It looks like when I get home, let me give you, I'll give you one mantra that I use, and then I'll give you a couple of actions. The first mantra that I use is I never say I'm tired. It's not that I'm not, it's just I never say I'm tired because I would never tell you I'm tired. So like when I come, I would never go, you know, dude, I don't know if this is gonna be a very good podcast or not. I'm exhausted. So let's fucking see what happens. Like I would never say that to you because I'd be like, no, you flew all this way. You've entrusted me with the time to share my story, vice versa. You're going to get all of me. So I stopped saying I was tired to my family because I knew I would never say that at work. And so I just felt like that means they're not getting the best of me. If you get the best of me, then they have to get the best of me. So that's like a mindset. That's like my mantra.
Let me unpack that for a second, because that's something somebody says all the time, right? In everyday life, right? But when you say it out loud, even, and this is what's coming up for me, when you say it out loud, that's how you're going to operate. But you're also telling the other person, you're probably not going to get the best of me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you step into that exact character, correct?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this though. When you are tired and you refuse to say it out loud, what does that do for your energy? I'm talking like, man, you've been working to death, or you spent another 8 hours in the gym, and
yeah.
And maybe you are physically, mentally tired, but you refuse to step into that version of you.
Yeah.
What do you do then?
So because I've showed up so consistent, I mean, okay, so this last 7 years I've built an amazing marriage. Right. So at this point, I've got so many deposits into the love bank that there are times where Jesse would be like, you look exhausted. And I'm like, I may or may not be. And it's kind of a joke now because, like, even if she tells me she's exhausted more than like 3 times, she'll be like, I know I've already told you that 3 times. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Because I look at it like an excuse. That's just, my mind can go a little extreme. But if she'll be like, she goes, you look exhausted. I go, I may or may not be. She goes, you know what? This is just a chill night. Why don't me and Jovi go up and why don't you go to bed a little early? So like she can recognize it, but it's because there's so many times where no matter how tired I quote unquote am, I'm just like, you got all of me. Now, sometimes I fall asleep on the couch when we'll be watching a movie and I will fall asleep on the couch and she'll be like, that I was tired. But if you ask my daughter if I ever say that, she'll be like, I don't think I've ever heard my dad say that. Not as of recent. But here's another mindset is on Saturday and Sunday, I don't look at those as a weekend. I don't look at them. I genuinely don't even look at them as days off. I used to. They used to be football days. They used to be all that. Now I just go, oh, I've got 2 really important clients that need the best version of me, Jesse and Jovi. Like that's how I show up. Now, what I've done practically is I take Mondays off now. I own a business, so I can pick whatever I want. So Monday is Keith's day to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. Thank God I have a beautiful man cave. I can just come over here. If I want to watch a movie, I bring my dog. If I want to eat so I have one day that's all me. Nobody can impinge on it, and I don't let anybody impinge on it. So that means Saturday and Sunday are 100%, and I let them pick, what are we doing this weekend? What do you guys want? What's exciting? Wow. Jovi sits down with her iPad. We used to create an itinerary. We used to call it itinerary, but now we call it a playlist. And I let her, with her thumbs on my phone or on her iPad, pick out what we're doing. And she puts the emoji, so we go trampoline park, we're going to watch this movie. And then at like every 3rd or 4th line, it'll be like Dada's choice. And then she'll try and like figure, like she'll be like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Well, why don't we do this?" She goes, "I don't know about that." I go, "Well, what does Dada's choice mean?" She goes, "Well, it's more of a suggestion."
Yes.
Okay, got it.
You can have an opinion,
Got
but
it.
we
Yeah.
might not do it.
We might veto it.
Yeah.
So they pick. And then I show up with radical enthusiasm, like, all right, that's amazing. We're doing this. So I just figured if everybody else gets me, just because they pay me, they shouldn't be able to get a better version of me than the people that don't pay me. Like I've convinced myself and indoctrinated myself like that there's nothing more true than that. And so that's how I've been showing up for quite a while. A while, meaning like maybe 4 years, 5 years.
That's amazing. Do you think that, and obviously we've got a lot of guys in the audience and not everybody can take a Monday off, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's a really, really, really important theme here. And that is, I think guys, and like, listen, in the season I was in, I was guilty of stretching myself completely ragged, right? No days off, grind, right?
Yeah.
Go, right? The more I go, right? But I can honestly see, on the horizon from your point of view, like if I've got Monday just to put a little air in my lungs, then I can go freaking hard, right? Go big on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. Does that mentality have anything to do with it? Like knowing that break is on the horizon?
I'm not a machine. I'm a man. I get tired. I do get tired. I get up. I get up at 4 every morning. Regardless, I have a very detailed regimen of like work. Every email I write, I start writing between 4 o'clock and 4:02 a.m. as soon as I get up. I grab my phone, I start writing. Like I learned that from somebody. Like if you can get into work within 90 seconds of waking up, your best work will be happening for that next hour or two. So my best work I do is for the first hour and a half or 2 hours of the day. I wake up from 4 till 6 is work, this type thing, and so I just go, and then I work, and I'm very detailed. Like every thing is planned what I'm going to do, because I've at this point in my life eliminated almost every distraction, down to the point of like it's rare. I'm very rarely distracted, although I want to be distracted just like everybody else. So I have just gotten so detailed on that, because I know come Monday I can do whatever the hell and sometimes it's watching Drive to Survive, the Formula One thing on Netflix. Sometimes it's mountain lion documentaries for 4 hours straight. I know more about wolves and coyotes and mountain lions and bears than any of my friends, because I like watching those documentaries. So the mind is like, here's where I came up with the idea, just so you know. And I know not everybody can take Mondays off, but they can take this mentality and say, hey, I need 4 hours of just me time. And if a guy can't find 4 hours of him time, I don't think he's prioritizing things correctly. So the most psychologically hard thing for a human to endure is not knowing when the end of something is. Let me give you an example.
Makes so much sense.
The British SAS, the Delta Force, and the Navy SEALs, to break a man's mental will, the last test they put him through is go on a run, and they don't know when it's going to stop. Could be 3 hours, could be 13 hours. They don't know. That will break a man more than anything else psychologically. So for me, I go, well, my game is an entrepreneur game, meaning we get better with age. We're not like LeBron James. We don't get worse with age, even though he may get better with age. But like athletes get worse with age. There's a time window. Our time window it's till eternity, and we're only going to get better because we're only getting smarter, wiser, and we're figuring more things out. We're getting more resources. So things are happening. So our game only accelerates. It's it. So I'm like, well, there's no end. And if there's no end, no wonder I'm psychologically just messed up in the head. So I'm like, I'm going to give myself a time to be with me. And I discovered thinking. And I know that sounds crazy, but like I actually will give myself a topic and go, let's think about this.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So a lot of my concepts that I teach in Married Game, some people go, I never heard that. Or now that you mention it, I never thought of it that way. Have you ever had that? Like when I gave my speech, you're like, oh shit, I hadn't thought about that dial that way. Or right, that was a fair experience?
Well, first of all, I want to, spoiler alert, I definitely want to go over the 5 dials.
Okay.
But I'll never forget, being at that event where you and I shared the stage and you going over those 5 dials, and you'd be like, the first one was like, are you a good dad? And I'm like, well, shit, that makes total sense. Of course. Like, yeah. And the other one, which was my Achilles heel, was how, your humor, right? Or your level of funness, right? Or do you take life way too seriously? I had never heard it quite like that. Like, so let me just give you the concept of the good dad, right? I mean, sure, like every wife wants their husband to be a good dad, but even in my line of work, I was like, but I wonder why. And though I'll never forget the way you described it. I mean, we're going back like 8 months. This woman carried your child in her belly and then gave birth to her child. She loves this child more than anything, and she doesn't want to see this child mistreated or yelled at or screamed at or lost patience at or whatever because you had a bad day.
Yeah.
Right? They want calm, resilient, fun-loving, goofy, all these other things because that is attractive. And I was like, holy crap, that is so true, but I've never heard it quite like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, go back to, thinking on topics.
So that I take pride in being somebody that's spent real time thinking about these things and trying to get what I call the blue flame idea. Some people call it first principle thinking. So there's this stuff you're thinking about this, but if we could boil it down to only this thing. So I have a statement where I say, do what you say you're going to do, when you say you're going to do it without fault. Like, it's a big concept in married game. But the truth of the matter is, if you have a high standard, you can shorten that statement down to just 2 words: impress yourself. What would impress you? I want people to come into married game and go, I'm impressed. I want people to come into my man cave and go, I'm impressed. Right? Yeah. So I go, okay, if impress myself is now my new standard, what would be a way to communicate a thought in such a way, like the comedian who says, have you thought about this? And you go, no, I haven't thought about it in that way. Like, to me, that is a really big idea for me. So when I boil it right down, I spend a lot of time. I discovered that if I actually spent some time and go, what's really happening here? And I actually break down the interaction, I've come up with all my best ideas there. So like when I use the phrase, when the trust goes down, the lust goes down. Or when the trust goes up, the lust goes up. A lot of people go, oh, that's a catchy phrase.
Makes sense.
That makes sense. But I never heard it that way, because it's all this boiled down to when the trust goes up, the 10 or 12 words, right? It's not a lot.
Yeah.
And I realized, oh, Jesse didn't trust me. In fact, when somebody doesn't trust somebody, there's an issue with that person, or there's a resentment. So if the trust is low, that means the resentment is probably as high or equally higher in the other way. These are the things I think about, and I actually spend real time. Why is it weird for people when they hear me and Jesse go, we want to know what each other's sexual fantasies are and we want to fulfill them? People go, oh, what the fuck is that? Well, who else am I supposed to fulfill them with? This is my partner through life. And if I have a sexual fantasy, do you want me to go take it to Sheila or Shayna or whoever, or should I bring it to you? And people go, oh, where? That's a first principles idea. Like, if you have a sexual fantasy, who do you go to first? Oh, I could never tell my wife that.
That's a problem.
Yeah,
but most people are like that.
Yeah. So I go, okay, well, why is that? What's happening here? So that will be a topic that I'll be like, I'm going to go spend an hour. I'm going to put an hour on my time. I'm going to put some vibey-ass music on, and I'm going to pull out my Remarkable or my journal and go, why do you think that is? And I'll start thinking through things, eliminating things, and it's that my time to be with me and my creator, and for me to actually think is why, like, my certainty in what I say, it's almost always unwavering. Because I go, oh, no, I live this. I've been this bad and had to build from this deep of a hole that, like, what actually will move me forward. So those are the things that, taking a day off. All my friends are like, dude, you can't do that. I go, watch me. And I've been doing it for 4 years, and my business has grown. Everything in my life continues to get better. I keep winning. So I'm like, why would I mess with this formula? Because it doesn't fit into your box. Forget your box. I'm doing my thing. So I hope that answers that.
No, it does. I mean, that gives, well, so many men we feel guilt-ridden for taking time, for self-care, whether it's, going to the gym, whether it's reading a book, listening to a podcast. I want to go to a conference. I want to hire a coach. I want to go buy a new pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Right. Guys have, like, we have issues with that. We have issues with taking time. It's like, if we're not on the grind, and listen, I'm a perfect example of that in the season that I was in. I was on the grind. I never let my foot off the gas. And because of that, I was not showing up the way Keith shows up on Saturdays and Sundays, right?
Yeah.
And probably the other 5 days too, if I'm being honest. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. You know? No, I get it, man. I get it. These are all my mistakes. I'm just going, how do I fix them?
Right.
I don't like cliche just answers, because everybody who comes to me and help in that deep, dark a pit, or like probably in your business, a lot of guys come and they go, it's good, but I want great. Mm-hmm. And if anybody spent any time around Jesse and I and really see how we really interact, it's very flirty. It's very fun. It's as real as we say it is, or more. And they go, I never seen that. How did you get that? I go, that is a lady. My wife feels extremely supported that whatever she wants to do, I'm like, let's go. Let's do it. Yes, I believe the wife is to support the husband, but also if I'm the leader, I know what it's like to be a good leader, and that is I'm supposed to support. I'm not only just helping my clients, but I'm helping anybody who works with me, and we have like 9 like real employees that work for us. What's their dreams? I'm here to serve them too, man, because that's what the leader is. Why would they follow a leader if it's not going to where that's meaningful to them? Nobody wants that. Again, another first principle that I had to keep realizing. I'm like, fuck, my sales guy and our head coach was having a really off week. Rather than like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I just go, hey man, that's off standard for you. What's going on? Like, I want to ask questions. So curiosity became a real huge thing for me. So I'm listening to these guys go through what they're going through, and I'm like, oh, you did the dishes and you did the thing and you did the thing. Oh, you tried all that? So did I. Why did you do that? Because I want to get laid. All right, cool. So you want something from her, right? Yeah, awesome. When you want something from somebody, what do you typically have to give to get it from anybody else in the world? Oh, I have to provide value. I have to show up. I have to be this. I go, yeah. Why aren't you acting that way towards your best friend? So like I just started taking these business concepts and these friendship concepts and going, why am I not treating my wife the same way? And then that's where a lot of these things came from.
She really, the story I'm telling myself is she really picked up on this intentionality, because just as much as women, I think people in general can sniff an agenda like, oh, you're doing that thing because you want the thing, right? Versus like, oh, you're doing this thing because that's who you are.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's attractive, right? Right. So, that's attractive for people, because that's confidence. That's like, I'm just doing this because it's the right thing to do, and it's what a good man does. It's what a good person does. It's just how I operate. So you got more intentional with her.
Yeah.
So when did you really start to see like, okay, I think there's a chance here? Like when did we kind of talked about like when we saw like the glimmer of light, but when did the flame start to go?
I noticed it when Jessie started like actually initiating sex again. Like it was like something that she wanted to do. And that's when anytime you talk about sex, like guys know instantly whether they're happy or not happy. Like if in their heart of hearts, what they tell everybody else, that's one thing. But in their heart of hearts, if you go, man, my wife when I actually felt she wanted me, because I think that's really the punchline is, yeah, of course we want sex, but like we want to be wanted, especially like how it was in the beginning. That's why you started dating, because you guys wanted each other. And dude, the feeling of being wanted by somebody, I don't know if there's a better feeling. The only other thing other than feeling wanted by somebody might be a challenge that you overcame and won on, that you chose of your own accord. Like life throws you challenges, you're like, I gotta fucking work my way through this. But then there's those challenges of like, I'm running the marathon, I'm losing the weight, I'm gonna, and then you go do it. That feeling is one of the sweetest tastes in a man's mouth ever.
100%.
The second, if not as much or more, is having a woman want you for who you are and not for something that they can get. Because like I used to think, Jessie, she never wanted me for my money. I never thought she wanted me for my money. But there was a point where I came to where I felt like just a paycheck. And when I realized Jesse's not here, so the interesting thing when you go, when somebody leaves and they come back, they're like, that's being chosen again. And she's like, yeah, I want this life with you. So like there was like a glimmer of she wants me, but she really just wanted actually Jovi's mom and dad to be together, and she wanted to maybe hopefully this will work. Mm-hmm. So that was like, I know what she really wanted. So the progression was she wanted that, and then I noticed when she would be like, this dude, we didn't even have sex for six weeks till she came back. I think it was more like 8 weeks, and then she would hold my hand, and then we would go out together, and she would be next to me and like leaning into me. So like, because there was times where we would go out and I would think, is she really here with me, or are we still going through the motions again? So that's when she was like initiating actual touch and connection. Because my wife stopped touching me because, like a lot of guys, and you probably see this in Dad Edge, women are like, just because I'm touching you doesn't mean I want to go upstairs and have sex with you right now.
Right.
And because you act that way every time, I don't want to touch you.
Because you think like, well, this is going to lead to something, or he's going to, yeah.
Yeah. Jesse would hide in her. Jesse and I, when we first got together, we were hot and heavy. We'd have sex once, sometimes twice a day. We were into each other. And then it got to a point where she would hide if she was naked in her closet and wait for me to walk by. Because if I saw her, like, oh, hey, wow, you're naked. I said all the stupidest shit like every guy says. And she would be like, it comes across like you're just desperate and needy, like all you want. And she goes, I feel like a walking vagina. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting because I feel like a walking ATM.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think a lot about is the things I'm struggling with, which most guys are like, man, I want to be touched more. I like when you actually touch me. Like, just pet my arm. It feels good. I like when you tell me a compliment about something that you notice about me that makes me actually think you like being with me. I actually like having sex that you seem to be involved in and not just laying there for me. So these are things that we like, right? So every time I feel that like feeling, I go, oh, shit, I wonder what the equivalent for her is. That's been such a huge prompt for me to really think through, oh, so you feel like a walking vagina? Oh, well, I feel like a walking ATM. Oh, I hate that feeling. Let me give you like an example. If your wife came up to you and was like, hey, can I have $100? And you're like, yeah, sure, here's $100. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, well, how was your day? She's like, I'm really busy. Walked off. You'd be like, okay, that for one day, that'd be like, all right, she's busy. Next day, come up like, hey, how are you? She's like, good, I could use another $100. And you're like, okay, cool, no problem. Here's $100. How was your day? She's like, I got this thing. I got to take this call. Well, how many days would that have to happen when you literally just felt like a walking wallet?
Yeah, probably by day 3.
By day 3. And you'd be like, hey, fuck you. No more $100 for you. Like, that would be a natural reaction. That's exactly the way they feel about sex. It's the exact same feeling. Like, I'm just being used for this thing. And so that's what Jesse felt like. I feel like I'm just like this trophy thing you get to show off, like, hey, look how hot my wife is. Like, that's not interesting to me. Like, I don't know what this serves in you, but this doesn't serve me, and it makes me not even want to have sex with you anymore. So like, everything I thought I was doing was just not working. So I would go, okay, well then how does that make her feel? Listening to her, she interrupts me sometimes, and I tell her, I'm like, hey, the rest of the second half of that sentence was actually the punchline. Do you want to get to it, or do you want to interrupt me? She's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I interrupted. But I noticed I did that to her. I was like, oh, I hate it when you do that. Well, yeah, but you do the same thing. So I just started realizing all these things I was doing was being interpreted by her as the exact opposite of what I thought I was doing. So having been with hundreds of women, I actually understand attraction and seduction really, really well. And then I didn't realize that short-term attraction and long-term attraction, that was the difference. Because I'm like, wait, I was really good at getting them in bed with me. I was really great for the first couple of years of Jesse still wanting me and having a vibrant sex life. And then it all went away. What happened? It was the difference between short-term attraction and long-term attraction.
What is the difference?
So short-term attraction is the number one lever that is used in short-term attraction to get a woman to like act out of her mind towards a guy is she realizes she's one of many options. So options is the lever. She goes, okay, here's this dude, studly dude, okay? And I'm not the only one he could be talking to or is talking to right now. So what does that mean? So that means when she is with you and she has sex with you, she goes, I'm going to be a little more loose. I'm going to be a little more of what I think this guy wants because I don't want him picking Becky or Sarah or Trish over there. I want him picking me. And then boom, when that happens, they go, all right, we're exclusive. That lever's gone. It's just you and her. It's like that.
That makes so much sense.
So there's no lever.
Yeah.
Except the now lever to keep long-term attraction is this. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on this, but it's it's the appearance. I was going to say the possibility because it's not a possibility because most people are monogamous. There is no possibility of all options. It's the perception of options now is that same lever that a married man who's in a monogamous relationship can pull. And you're probably what are you thinking right now when I say that? Perception of options.
I'm confused actually.
Okay.
So, but I'm very curious.
Okay,
like
cool.
What it is, yeah.
So we got the curiosity hook.
Yeah.
Deep inside of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Perfect. All right. Probably with these listeners too.
Yeah.
So real options is if she doesn't step up to the plate, we get rid of her and I'm going on a date with Trisha tomorrow. That's real options, right? Perception of options is, let me tell you what it's not real fast and you'll know exactly what it is when I say it. If somebody comes up to your wife and says, do you think so-and-so is cheating? And she responds, who would want to have sex with him? Right?
Right.
She knows you have no other option.
Right.
So there is no perception of options. Who would want to cheat with him? And a lot of gals think that about their guy. He gets a dad bod. He's no longer ambitious and motivated. He's a shitty ass dad. He doesn't groom himself that well. He doesn't do these things. And she's like, I don't even want to have sex with him. I mean, if somebody's stupid,
nobody else.
Yeah. So the perceptions of option is this dude is a great dad. He is the funnest guy you'd ever want to be around. He's in great shape. He makes money. He's a leader amongst men. He is. Dude, if I don't step up, there's a possibility that this dude might lose attraction for me. That's the perception of options. That's why becoming a provocateur is such a big deal because it's like, I know that a lot of religious marriages and it's till death do us part and all those things. I don't disagree with that. It's just not how I live my life. How I live my life is it's not till death do us part, which means you get to go do whatever you want, Jesse. Like if you want to gain 100 pounds, good luck, no problem. I'll still be with you. That's not what we signed up for. The same way when I signed up for a cell phone contract, if they say, guess what? You don't get to do texting anymore. We just decided we have a headache and you don't get to text anymore. You can call people on your phone, but you can't text anymore. And by the way, you don't get to go on Instagram anymore either. What are you talking about? That's not what we signed up for. Well, that's what typically happens in a marriage with a guy and a gal. A guy says, hey, you married a hunk. Jesse married me, 185 pounds. Tiger meat wrapped in barbed wire, like I told you, right? I was a stud, man. And then I become 245. That's not what she signed up for. So why am I shocked she doesn't want to give me a blowjob? Nobody wants to give a dude that's 250 pounds a blowjob if it's as fat as I was. So it's like, where's your option? So it's like if you become the guy and you stay the guy, that's where she goes, well, shit. I want to be my best version of myself because this dude keeps striving to be the best version of himself. That's where I think how you keep the real edge.
Makes total sense. It makes total sense because, and it's all about growing.
Yeah.
It's all about becoming better and not stagnant, right?
Yeah.
So what you just said was so incredibly obvious and simple, but yet we miss it. The question I have for you is, when we're married, why do you think it's the majority of couples, right? Both the man and the woman, or we can just talk about the man, it really doesn't matter. But we get so comfortable and then we get so stagnant. And I also know that once we become fathers, we become insanely busy, right? And then we start to shove all these things that we used to do or we used to be like, could do or whatever, off to the side. So I put a post out, and I actually stole it from another platform. So I want to give credibility where credibility is due. And in the post, I did tag them. but the post was from Stronger Marriages. I love their content. And they put a post out that says, you got married because you started dating your spouse, but after you got married, you stopped dating. Why? And I was like, oh, it's such a good question.
Yeah.
It's such a good question. So I took that and I reposted it. I posted it in Facebook and Instagram. And sometimes I like to just see what the vibe is out there in people's lives, just for curiosity. I want to see. And dude, there was hundreds of comments, right? The people, it was a triggering post, and I mean that in a good way, and a not so good way. It depends on the person. So the things that I got was like, we've been married 25 years. We never miss date night. It's every other week for the past 25 years. 25 years of marital bliss, right? One lady was like, my husband still takes me out. It's the best thing that we do as a married couple. It makes us better parents, One lady, she had to be somebody's grandma. We've been married for 47 years. He's always taking me out on a date night. Damn. At least that's the way I'm thinking she talked, right?
Yeah, of course.
But and then you see the people that are just like, because he's lazy, because she's fat and I'm no longer interested in her. One lady, dude, I shit you not, this is what she said. Because he's lazy, he leaves his beard hairs in the sink and his poopy stained underwear in the closet where I can see it. And I just freaking started dying laughing. I was like, oh my God. But it just gave me a really good glimpse of like, well, there are some people out there that really value that. One guy even said this, dating in college was easy. And then once you get married, there's something called mortgage, bills, and kids, no time for dating. And I'm like, Jessica and I mean, one of the things that we do at least every other week, we have date night tomorrow. And we are 100% committed to that. And there have been times even when my boys are like, why do you guys have to go out without us? And our answer is because it's really important for you that mom and dad continue to like each other. Yeah. I mean, it's so important. True. And I always tell my boys, especially now that we're older, I was like, dude, you need to take your wife when you're married out on a date. Bring your kids here. Yeah. Have them spend the night. You and your wife come back on Sunday morning after you've had a good old time. Come back for breakfast. Kids will be fed. You guys can eat with us too. Yeah. That's what we want for you. But why do you think it's just human nature, or just like this perception of the evolution of marriage that, we just don't do that anymore, or we just don't take care of ourselves anymore, or we just don't take care of each other anymore? It just happens.
I think it's the way of man. The way of man is to lose their edge. The way of man is to become dull. The way of man is to get entitled, lackadaisical, and to fall off. The way of man is to forget what they have until they lose it. The way of man is to let weeds grow in his garden. Unless you put radical intention on it, you're not going to have it. B, I don't think anybody's really talking that much really about it in real language that people actually understand. So guys like you start talking about marriage and dating and thing, and a guy goes, huh? Wait, what? Oh yeah, that makes sense. So there's that. Guys like me are talking about it, and I'm trying to get as blue flame as possible. It's like, hey, you want your wife to want you? Guess what? You got to become wantable. And I go, oh, I never really thought about that. I go, you want her to fuck you? Yeah. Are you fuckable? No. Do you see the problem with that equation? Yes. What are you going to do about it? I don't know. How about become fuckable? So, I just think we get lazy, but I think the I'm going to go one more layer below that. Yeah. I think we're an incredibly distracted culture.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Guys know, I'll tell you this. There's guys that have financial problems that don't know anything about, how to grow money, and they know everything about sports. That's not a couple guys. That's a lot of dudes. There are guys that know nothing about the skill and of relationship with their wife, but they know everything about fantasy football. And so to me, it's not that these guys are dumb. This is where I would maybe lean on your side. Let's give some guys some credit. They're not dumb. They are not dumb. They are distracted, and they are focusing on the wrong things, because once they experience this lack in their marriage, they're awake. They go, whoa, how do I fix this? I believe there are louder voices that have been saying things longer than you and I have that have led men astray. Not because they're evil, I just think because they don't know any better and the same stuff has been peddled. Let me give you an example, like the one that you said on the show we did earlier. Do more around the house. That'll do it. And so what do guys do? They take out the trash. They do it really long. They bang the plates in the thing because they want their wife to notice that they're doing something. Okay? Not a bad action. The other one is buy her gifts. You show that you thought about her. Buy her something. Okay, cool, I got that. Say yes more. Be more agreeable. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Or, happy wife, happy life. These are like tropes. I've met a lot of happy wives with a lot of dudes that are very unsatisfied sexually. So, but would you agree that that's a lot of the advice that's given out there?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Do more, you'll get more.
Do more, you'll get more.
Which I think is the insanely wrong message.
Because it's not that the actions are wrong, in my opinion.
Right.
It's the attitude.
It's the motive, right?
It's the motive.
Yeah.
So it's like, it just reeks with taker energy. So the guy finds himself in a situation. This is why, like, for me, when I think of married game, like, I'm in a different season of my life where I'm thinking, I want to have cultural change. Like, I genuinely want provocateur to be a word. Like, that's really what I want moms and dads to say, to be like, a dad to be like, I'm a provocateur, man. Like, no, I don't. Oh, you gained a bunch of weight after you got married? Like, let's make memes about that guy. That's dumb. Don't be that guy. So it's all of this. We're distracted. Like, I go, tell me, wait, you spent how much time watching the NFL draft? Like, for why? You own that team? Well, yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl. You ain't going anywhere, dude. You can't even afford a Super Bowl ticket. You can't even go first class and go to a Super Bowl fucking game at any price ticket, at any seat in that place. Do you not understand, like, how distracted you are? So I just think it's, if I was to boil it down without getting more ranty than I already am, I'd say distraction.
And it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
With phones. And the thing that I think disturbs me too is when, and we've been guilty of this too, right? Well, I know we have, is that you go out, you spend time with the family, or you see a couple on a date and they're just in their phones. Like, they're just in their phones. And there are a lot of things I don't do right, but one of the things I do when Jessica and I are out, it's us. Like, we talk, we catch up. I mean, we cherish that time. And it's because we've learned, if we don't do that, there's consequences, right? And the consequences are we tend to grow apart. I'm really curious, since I want to give the guys these 5 dials.
Okay.
Because they're so simple. Yeah. And they're so good. And I want you to take us through each one and why they're important.
You mind giving me 13 seconds so I can hit the AC real fast?
Not at all.
I felt a
go for it.
Sweat down my
no,
back.
go for it.
How to fix this. This AC does this every once in a while. The guy's coming this week to fix it. I think the first and foremost, like, ground level thing when I say I'm the problem, I'm the solution, what I don't believe a lot of guys understand, but this is, to me, it's supported by everything that I've done this last 2 years, like, publicly, is I believe 95% of every marital problem is the guy's fault. And here's why. So when I teach these 5 dials and I say these 5 dials, I believe that with not a little of my being, my entire being. 95% of marriage problems are a guy's fault. If he works on these dials and he still doesn't have what he wants in his marriage, then 100% of it is his fault. And what I mean by that is, if you become the best version of you, this is my firm belief, and not everybody believes this, and that's okay, but this is my firm belief, and this is what I've seen. If a guy becomes the best version of himself for himself, and his wife still doesn't like him, or won't rise to a standard of actually loving him and showing him affection and being anything that's like remotely like what a wife would want, what he would want in a wife, then she doesn't get to ride shotgun with you anymore. Plain and simple. And that's a standard issue. For like, if I'm a provocateur and I raise these 5 dials, 95% of the time, this is our stats. I've had like 318 guys come through our full-blown program, and it's not like cheap. It's like you want transformation, we're going after it. We're going all the way. We're going all the way in, and so they come in, and it's equaled about 95% of the guys get their wife to fall back in love with them. The other 5 to 8% of the guys, I don't have perfect tracking on it, but I got pretty good data on it. They get to a point where they go, actually, no, I want a divorce. Because they realize, shit, yes, I was the problem. Then they fixed it. They've been in the program for a year, and their wife's still like, no, I'm not. And they used to be radically in love, and they used to have sex, and they used to be connected. They used to be all these things. And they become this guy, and then they realize, dude, actually, I'm with a really manipulative human being. I'm with a really horrible human being. So I've walked, quite a 10 or 15 guys out of the 300 actually through divorce, because they go, dude, I'm not going to settle for anything. Now, I don't encourage after 90 days go get a divorce. I say, hey, you know what? How long were you a shithead? They're like, 7 years. I go, okay, well, I understand you want her to snap back immediately to where you were. That's not going to happen, dude. Like, we got to give her some grace period. She probably has a shit ton of PTSD of what a dickhead you were. So let's keep being a provocateur and putting up with some of her stuff the same way she put up with a lot of your shit. So I believe those stats because I've seen them actually happen in real, and it gives the guy a lot of hope. He goes, wait a second, if I'm the problem, that means I'm the solution. That means if I actually become the most attractive version of me, he's just a different human being making decisions. And the best way I've looked at it was like, if you're and we have like an assessment where guys can go and take it, and just about every is the same one we did.
Yeah, same one we did. Yeah.
And dude, guys, you saw it. Like, guys are getting C's and D's and F's, and it's just like, oh shit, dude. And I go, okay, so if let's just say you're a C- husband, you're only going to get a C- version of your wife. So nobody likes a C- version of anybody. That's below average, right? So I go, let's get you to an A version of a husband, and let's see how she reflects. She's going to reflect back to you. If any woman has an A type of husband, 95% of them actually start to go, hold on, wait, I can't be just yelling at this dude. There's nothing to yell at now. Or if there is a yell at, he goes, yeah, you know what? You're right about that. And she's like, wait, you're not defensive anymore. I always say defensiveness kills more lady boners than anything, and I think it's true. Yeah. So when we dial these things up, it's becoming the A version of us, and then we go, okay, let's see how she responds. Dude, it's crazy how fast, like literally within the first 2 to 4 weeks, I'd say half the guys are like, dude, something's happened to my wife. I go, well, yeah, because something happened to you. And then usually between day 60 and day 90, if a wife hasn't started to turn back towards the husband, this is just real life of what I've seen. I don't know what any of the books say because I don't read any of the books, so I don't care about what any of they say. I know what I've seen with my real eyes, with my real life and real guys' lives, and they do this, what happens. Sometimes a woman actually has to see a man go to the edge and go, guess what? I'm done. To where she goes, this guy's for real now. Because the question that every woman's asking in their brain, if they've seen their husband fall off and they're no longer attracted to him, they go, is he just doing this to get something from me?
Yep.
Or is he really this guy? And if a guy's willing to go, I'm willing to end this relationship. And I don't like divorce. I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's horrible. My first kids went through divorce. I think it really fucked them up. I'm a product of divorce. I think it fucked me up. I don't think divorce is good in any way, shape, or form. But I think it's better in these certain circumstances for a guy, if he becomes his true best version of himself, to be like, I'm not settling for crumbs that you're willing to throw at me, because I now know I actually really do have options. And I realize we have a thing called I'm the catch of the county. I know I'm kind of getting excited and rambling on here.
No,
I'll get
I
to
like
the 5
it.
dials, I promise.
Yeah. No, good.
But it's the philosophy of why these dials work is I want to make sure they understand this. Like, we have a statement that we go, who are you? I'm the catch of the county. What does that mean? That means if Jessie, for some reason, woke up and got out of bed and bumped her head and doesn't want to be with me anymore, I know there'll be 100 ladies saying how to become the next Mrs. Yackey. I don't know 100 ladies, okay? But I do know that this type of version of guy I've built myself into is a highly attractive man for any woman. Why? I'm a great dad. Now we're getting into the dials. Okay, so that's the setup. The setup is every wife is judging their man on these 5 things, consciously or subconsciously. They're judging them, like, how good of a parent is he? So I just go, well, how good of a parent am I? Why? You got to experience this, but these 5 dials are, how good of a parent am I? How good of a partner am I? How good of a producer am I? How good of a player am I within my marriage? And do I stand in my power? So I can break those down, or do you want me to break them down?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to interject on anything about what I've said so far?
I just, there's a lot of things as you're talking that I think are really, really important. And that is, I think one of the most attractive things for a woman and a man is confidence.
Yeah.
Is totally
she's peeking
no, right?
Oh, he sees me.
For those of you guys who don't know, we've got Valentine in the studio as well.
Valentine's in the man cave.
And she is just staring at Keith.
She heard her name.
She came up to me too.
Yeah, he said my name. I got to go get pet.
So the best dog in the world over here.
Seriously.
But it's really confidence. And we said the kryptonite to attractiveness is neediness and insecurity, right? And I remember early on in my relationship, even with Jessica, like I shake my head and I'm like, why did you even like me? At some points, because I was that needy guy for a long time. And if I really look in the rearview mirror of like, when did our marriage like really turn around? It's when I started doing a lot of work, right? Started becoming like mentally fit, physically fitter, emotionally more intelligent and secure. The dad edge kind of took care of itself because it helped me with the skills to be a better dad. And, the one thing too about, the partner, like I never really understood that, up until a few years ago. And then when you talked about it last year at the speaking event, I was like, man, that's something that I think we overlook, and especially after we have kids. And I know I'm kind of jumping ahead with these dials, but the other thing too is the player aspect. And when you first said it, I was like, oh man, we're going back to the 90s. Don't hate the play, hate the game. And you're like, no. It's like, how playful are you? Like, how lighthearted are you? How fun are you? Like all these things. Because a lot of guys out there, we take things very seriously, right? Yeah. And we kind of tighten up and we don't let loose every now and again, or if but yeah, I want you to go through these 5 dials.
Busting. Jesse and I say the 6th love language is talking shit to each other, and it's like ball busting. Like that's what good friends do. They bust balls. Like, oh, let me, the more and more you get to know somebody, the more you kind of joke around with, like, I want to take you to my favorite taco spot after this, right? And I took Josiah there. It's the place is the best tacos. It's amazing, and I'll probably joke around with what happened with you yesterday because I'm feeling comfortable with you, and I feel like, hey, this is a good guy. You know what I mean? And I can be like, a joke will come out about you. I'm just making sure that the battery isn't low, but I think
that's what I was looking at earlier too.
I think we're going to be totally good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I go, okay, well, I'm going to bust his balls a little bit about this big thing that happened to him the other day because I've been through as bad or worse, and you already know what the issue is and you're already working on it. So it's like, well, friends would do that. They would talk shit about each other. You know what I mean? That's what we do. So this dials and this confidence you speak of is like a woman wants to be able to look from across the room and be like, that's my man.
That's my man.
That's my man, dude. That's my guy. Like, I get to be his wife. That's the lady that says, can we go into the bedroom? I would like to get naked with you. We don't need covers on. We can have the lights on. I don't care where we're doing. I'm excited to do it with you. It's like, this is how you create that desire in them or provoke that in them to want to be with you. So the first dial is, dude, are you a good dad? Are you a good parent? She, like I said, you said it back. She spent 9 months baking this thing and then birthing it into the world. But here's the truth of the matter is, I don't know what studies are out there. I don't know what people are saying. Doesn't matter because I know one particular percentage that's 100% true every single time, and that is moms don't divorce kids. Moms divorce dads. So that means that moms love kids more than dads. It's that simple. So if that's the case, then go, okay, cool. Well, guess what? I call kids little cock blocks because they are. Doesn't mean you can't get around them. Doesn't mean there's not ways to handle this. But kids are cock blocks. They need attention. They wake up at weird hours. Sometimes kids sleep with their parents. Like there's a lot of logistical issues that happen that can quench squelch a love life.
Right.
Because they just need a lot of attention, a lot of effort. So I just say, hey, listen, dude, be a good dad because that's your standard. That's another statement that I want to make sure we understand here, and that is her response does not dictate my standard. That's a big tenet of our belief in married game is her response does not dictate my standard. I mean, I'm not doing this for her. I'm doing this for me. I take out the trash or I do the dishes or I do the thing or I stay fit or I do this because that's my standard. The second line to that is her response doesn't dictate my standard. Her response dictates how long I will put up with her living below my standard. Talk about a set of balls on a guy if it'd be like, whoa, wait a second. My confidence and my certainty in me is so high because I've been living at a high standard for so long that if you don't actually rise to the standard, then you don't get to be with me. We're a team. And Jesse and I look at our marriage like a Formula One team. Do you follow Formula One in any way, shape, or form?
I don't, but that's okay. Keep going.
There's 10 teams. There's 2 players per team. And your biggest competition, in an interesting way, is your teammate. You both want to win. So you have 2 drivers for Mercedes. Nobody wants to be like, yeah, he gets first and I get second all the time. They want to both win. So they're both literally pushing each other to become better. Well, here's what I've learned. The more I love Jessie, I can't outlove her. She'll be like, oh, cute, nice move. Watch this. That's the kind of relationship you want to be in. Not that I'm not in competition with Jessie, but I'm in competition with my standard of who I want to be. I'm like, dude, I want to be such a good husband that this lady doesn't know what to do with herself. Why I believe with such certainty that these dials and what I'm saying is right is because we hit something 3 weeks ago that I've never experienced, and we're 12 years in. So Jesse and I 3 weeks ago both told each other, I feel like this is the first week we've been dating. Literally. Our sex is, I believe honeymoon sex is for minor leaguers and soul sex gets better with age. That our sex life has been getting like, post another top 5. God, that was the best sexual experience I've ever had with anybody ever. Damn, we did it. Well, we've been saying that for the last 7 years. It keeps getting better and better and better. But actually feeling like I get butterflies sometimes when I text Jesse. Like that first, you remember when
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I just felt that. What was that? Dude, I've known this lady for 12 years. I've seen her in every single light, every situation, every position, everything. I know everything about this lady, except I actually don't. I'm learning more about her. So that's why I know this works because I'm experiencing, and the guys in our in our program are like, I'm experiencing the same thing too. So she's judging on your parent. Are you a good parent? Does this guy, is he an asset or a liability is what they're really asking in their mind. Is this dude going to help my kid become whatever this kid should be and could be? Or is this person, by his example, his mere being around my kid, going to make this kid worse off? I was such a bad dad, Jesse said, I'm not going to have another kid. I don't even want to have another kid with you.
And that was the statement that sealed that idea, right? That concept. Yeah. Wow.
I don't even want to have another kid. She couldn't even go out to girls' night out because she thought, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
Like, who wants to have sex with that guy?
Mm-hmm.
I can't even leave my kid with him. So that's dial 1.
I really want to hit that one home because I think that is something that, quite frankly, guys overlook. And I'm not saying being a dad is not important to guys. It's actually the opposite. It's very important to us. But I don't think they realize how important it is to your wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think it really hits upon that third need of safety. If she can look across the room, Jessica will tell me this all the time. She's like, you know what actually really makes me want to grab you and put you in the bedroom and just have my way with you is when I see you being a goofball with the kids. Is when I see you throwing the football out there with Lawson, or playing Uno with one of the kids or doing something, right? Or we do this how to draw thing on take the iPad and then we draw things out. She's like, it's just, you're so damn sexy like that. And
So true.
but so like in my mind though, right? Like I think about like, well, that's not really on her radar, is it? Like it's all these other things, but it's not. But keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because you're investing in the thing that's most important to her.
Yeah.
So I sometimes I know I can sound a little crude or whatever, but it would be like if your wife's like, oh, hey, I'm going to tantric classes. I want to be a better lover. You'd be like, what? Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm all right with that.
Yeah, okay. She goes, yeah.
Here's your $100.
I think there's some.
Is that class $100?
Yeah, here you go. Is this what you've been asking for $100 every day for? You've been going to class every day. You would be like, what? You've invested your time, energy, and money in becoming a better lover because there's things you want to teach me? Every guy would lose his shit and be like, hey, guys, you're not going to believe this, dude. You know, Jesse's signed up for like, oh, right on, Yackey. Let's go. Like, it's a real thing. So when you're literally investing your time and energy and she thinks you're a great guy and she, like, respects you, and now this dude that she's gone all in on is now pouring into these children to be like, I'm going to show you how to become this. Like my daughter, we have a lot of mantras, but one of them is carry your own weight.
Carry your own weight.
Carry your own weight. Like your mom doesn't have to take your plate to the sink. Your mom shouldn't have to pick up your trash. When we walk on the trail up and down, the rule is pick up one piece of stray trash, but sometimes we pick up more. So don't be late. We're never late to anything. Like it's just that's not like, so we have these things where, like my daughter, like if her friend's dad to pick her up from gymnastics is late, she'll be like, really? Like, come on. Like, so that she has this extremely high standard in her where she will push herself and she will go because like she wanted a laptop computer. This is my favorite dad moment of my entire existence. So on Dad Edge, I got to share it. She goes, Dad, I want a computer. I want a laptop. I go, cool. Do you know how to read yet? She goes, no. I said, well, no purpose in a laptop. She goes, well, what do you mean? I go, there's like laptops are for like typing and like, you know, you don't need that. She goes, well, but I want it. I go, oh, just go ahead, go learn how to read and it's yours. She goes, what? I go, yeah, go learn how to read and I'll get you a laptop so you can actually use it. In fact, I said I even had like an old Mac. You know, sometimes you don't really upgrade them.
Right. Yeah.
So I had the one. I'm like, this would be perfect for her. So she saw it. She goes, I want your laptop. I go, you can have it, but you gotta learn how to read. She goes, well, I don't know how to read. I go, I'll teach you. So I went and bought the book, Teach Your Kids How to Read in 100 Easy Days. Have you ever seen that? Or 100 Easy
I have
Lessons?
not. No.
Yeah, I taught all my kids how to read through this book. So I'm like, well, number 4, I can teach. I've done this with 3 other ones. I can do it with this one. We got about 42 days into it, and she wasn't like loving it, but she wanted the laptop. So I said, well, she goes to Montessori right over here, and so they finished off her reading extravaganza, and I bought like these 12 books that were like for new readers, but they were like, you got to know actually how to read these. I said, all right. I put the 12 books down. I said, all 12 books, not one mistake. The laptop's yours. And she got to like book 7 and made a mistake. I said, well, by the way, Christmas came. This was like a 7 to 8 or 9 month ordeal.
Yeah, it sounds like a big project.
Jesse's like, just give her the laptop. I go, no. She doesn't have 2 moms. She has a mom and a dad. I'm teaching her something right here. If people give you something, you do not appreciate it. If she earns it, she will have earned the muscle to know this. And I said, I cannot rob that of her. And trust me, dude, I wanted to, like, every other day I was like, just fucking do it. I'm like, no, man. And so she says that Montessori taught her how to read, but I was there the first 43 days. I was the one like working on it with her, but she says her teacher at Montessori taught her. So I don't care where she thinks she learned it. She got to the 7th book, she made a mistake. I go, nope, start over. She goes, really? I go, like, you do this, you will feel so good about yourself. Nobody will be able to take your confidence from you. So she goes, okay. She did it again. Second time, she got it. I have a picture of her holding this laptop, dude.
It's like, like
with
a trophy.
This smile.
Yeah.
It's the greatest smile of any human I've ever seen, and I know what it looks like because I remember one of the first time I got my abs. I remember the first time I made X amount of money. I remember the first time that I struggled to actually get something and I got it, and I know that feeling. And when you see that smile, you go, that's the one. Dude, Jesse was like, I wanted you to throw in the towel so many times. I go, I'm not going to do it. That matters to me. So those are the types of things that my wife says to me as well. She's like, man, when you spend time with Jovi and you're all in, you asked earlier, what does all in mean? All in means like when I'm home at night, I get home at 5:20 every night. And I live a minute away, so it's like, I'm usually leaving here like 5:18 and rolling in at 5:19, 45 seconds. And that's it. I'm now in that meeting. I don't let anybody interrupt that meeting. Like, nobody's interrupting us. Nobody's interrupted us while we're here. Why? Because we're here. We're doing this. So when I get home, it's like, oh, dude, that's my – I didn't – you're supposed to get this done, but I guess I didn't get it done. Because I'm here right now. And that little 9-year-old girl is looking at me, and she can tell, dude. She can tell. Is he in, or is he, like, just here? So that's a big deal. So I know we went a little longer on that parenting dial, but probably
it's really
not.
important.
Your whole business is built off of it. The dad.
Well, it's important because I think we tend to separate the two. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's my wife and that's my kids. And they sort of coexist, but we don't think of it as, well, that's actually an attraction point for my wife, right? Of being that. Yeah. So yeah, let's hear about dial 2.
Dial 2 is the partner dial.
Yeah.
And this is the dial, I call it the best friend dial. Like, does your wife really, if she gets 2 all expenses paid trip to Hawaii, are you her first pick? Or is it like one of her girlfriends because she's like, oh, he's not that fun. He's not that, you're like, oh. Most guys don't really listen to their wife and actually like ask engaging questions with curiosity. Well, what happened next? And a lot of guys are like, I don't know how to talk to my wife. I said, then go eavesdrop on her talking to her mom, or her talking to her best friend, or her talking to her sister. Go learn how they communicate, because they don't talk the way you and I talk. You and I are like, if you gain 30 pounds and I see you next, I'm like, fucking Hagnar, what happened, bro? Like, dude, you were in such great shape when I saw you. Like, that's not how girls talk to each other.
Yeah.
If you told me something, hey, dude, you're not gonna believe what I saw on the freeway. Oh, fucking, that's crazy. I know, right? High five. But they would be like, well, what did you think? Like, what happened next? What do you think? What do you think was the matter? And they'll ask all these qualifying questions to get all this detail, and offer no solution. They just want to listen and just yak. I go, I'm not saying you have to talk like a girl, but when you're talking to a girl, it probably would be good to know how they communicate, don't you think? Awesome. Cool. So go listen to them. So it's this best friend dial is like, does your partner feel like you guys are in this together? Mm-hmm. And I believe more like in traditional roles, like the man's the leader and the wife is the supporting role. But it's more of like teammates, and eventually like the buck stops with Jesse when it comes to like traditional roles. I don't really get involved in like stuff if I feel like it's her lane, because I think everybody should feel like they have some ownership and responsibility over a lane. It gives you confidence, it gives you certainty, it makes you feel more of who you are. And I want Jessie to be the best version of her, because I don't want just somebody that just says yes to me. I want somebody that like pushes back and is like, you know what, you're kind of an asshole right now. I'm like, yeah, I kind of am, dude. Thanks for telling me. So it's this like Jessie said, I feel more alone in our marriage than if I was single. What a horrible indictment against me and how I was showing up as a friend. So that if they don't feel like you're their friend, like truly, hey, can I share something with you? Yeah, tell me what's going on. Man, I got this thing nagging at me. Well, if you're just going to try and fix it, it invalidates, like we talked about. But it's like, who wants to be around somebody that's not really their friend? Because the story of love is like, it's your best friend.
It's your best friend, yeah. Me and Jessica, we were out a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about this friendship aspect of our relationship, because, my boys one night, they were saying, I was like, I can't remember how it came up, but I was like, she's my best friend. And my oldest goes, she's not, she's your wife. And I was like, but she's also my best friend. He's like, and he kind of like looked at me like he was puzzled, like you can have both. And so we talked about this over dinner one night, and I was just like, and we already know we feel that way. And she's just like, you are my best friend. And I was like, well, you're mine. I was like, you're my favorite person, actually. I was like, you're the one that I actually enjoy spending time with the most, right? Yeah. And it's like, but I think that there's a fine line. There's like the romantic aspect of our relationships, right? Mm-hmm. There's the friendship. And then I think what's dangerous is we get to that roommate, right? Where we're not even either one anymore. Yeah. We're just sort of coexisting underneath the same roof. So I think that, if you want to create more connection, and I love that aspect too about the curiosity. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I think is so important is, and you heard this when I was talking, is that get really curious and become a master of being curious and using really fantastic questions. Yeah. You will never learn everything about the other person. You think you will. Yeah. But I was standing next to Jessica. She was making a sandwich the other day. I've known this woman for 27 years. She makes a sandwich like once in a blue moon. I never see her eat sandwiches. And she threw on mayonnaise and mustard and mixed it together. I was like, you like mustard? She's like, yeah, with mayonnaise. And I was like, I know you've always liked mayonnaise, but I didn't know you liked mayonnaise and mustard. She's like, I've always eaten every sandwich with mayonnaise and mustard. I was like, I did not know that. I didn't notice that. Wow. She's like, I know I hardly ever eat sandwiches, but when I do, yeah, I do both. And I was like, holy crap. I was like, I've known you for this long. I had no idea. Yeah. But I think that's, you always got to be curious. You always got to be willing to, even if you think, oh, I've known her for 20 years. I know her. You don't. Yeah. But yeah, so let's talk about it. Go ahead.
I like I always say there's like two categories most problems fall into. They're either soulmate issues or roommate issues. Because like part of this dial is also like, be a good roommate. You live with this human being. Right. You know what I mean? So like pee on the toilet seat doesn't work. No. Like we have a leave no trace. It's carry your own weight, leave no trace. Like you will never know where I'm at in my house. Unless a pillow is a little bit cocked off or whatever. But it's like, it's not my job for Jessie to clean up after me. She's not the fairy that makes everything perfect. Like I don't believe in. I think that's juvenile.
What was that saying again?
What? Leave no trace.
Leave no trace.
What? Leave no trace.
I like that.
It like, because Jessie used to be like, hey, did you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? I'm like, oh my, she's Nostradamus. It's like, no, dude, you left a glob of peanut butter and jelly when you made it on the countertop. You little child. You know what I mean? So like a lot of guys are like, dude, my wife says she has 3. We have 3 kids, but my wife says she has 4, and they're like, ha ha ha. And it's like,
yeah, it's not funny,
dude. That's moms don't want to fuck children,
right?
So we call it the mom matrix. If she's having to clean up after you, like you can't get your clothes in the hamper. Like, dude, you're so close. I believe in you, dude. So a lot of what happens, I actually think, is especially guys, if they run businesses or they're high performers in the businesses that they work in. It's like, dude, if you showed up with that same type of detail and care at your work, you would be fired. So what I notice is a lot of guys, especially entrepreneurs, if they come home and they take their entrepreneur hat off and then they clock in at home and be like, where do you need me? And they're like, I don't need you anywhere. I need all of you here as the badass that you were, so that I can be like, I can lean into my femininity. I can trust your masculinity. It's the redwood is like, be the she can lean on you and be like, oh, he's not going anywhere. And therefore then she can dance under the shade of your branches, is the analogy I use, is why I like redwood and that type of thing. Is like, be that guy where she can just be like, I can trust him. I can lean on him. He's got it. He's fine. This emotional irregularity, like, how dare you talk to me that way? Well, I don't know. You're acting like an asshole. Oh, okay, that's fair. So like these guys, whenever you lose your emotional control, I just say you lose. You've already lost. Why are you so emotional about this? What is this triggering in you that you're having to throw a tantrum right now? Tell me what's happening. Like, women shouldn't have to say that to a dude, but for some reason, guys feel like this is okay. So it's this best friend. I've got a real best friend. His name's Garrett J. White. Like, that's my best friend. Like, we do a lot of shit together. We have a lot of fun together. Well, I just go, well, how did I hang out with my best friend? I actually tell Jessie more than I tell any other guy and any other guy. We talk about everything. We know everything. If we're at a bar and we see a chick that's hot, we're like, dude, that chick's hot. If we see a guy that she thinks is hot, I always get him wrong, because I'm really bad at picking hot dudes, because I'm not into dudes.
Thank God for that.
I'm not into dudes, right? Is that?
If you were good at that, we would be another podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, so we talk about everything. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like that's really what I mean by like best friend. But not everybody has to talk about everything with their wife. But it's just are you fun to be around? Are you interested? Do you ask probing and engaging questions that is like interested in what the actual result is? So most guys don't do this, and women feel a huge lack there, and it turns them off.
Oh, well, 100%. And an interested person is interesting, right? And the other thing too is when you're asking these questions, like, respond in a good way. You know, respond in a way that's applicable to the question, the answer, right? So like if I ask my kids, what was the best part of your day, or Jessica or whatever, and my kid comes home, he's so excited. He's like, I scored 2 goals in soccer at recess today. And I'm like, awesome. So you have homework, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like you just completely, it's like it went right over the top, right?
I think here's the truth. If you act like you're on a first date all the time, you would rule the world.
That's a really good point.
Like if you genuinely were like, because dude, if you go on a first date and you're trying to get lucky, you're trying to meet this girl, you're trying to impress her or whatever, you're like, so tell me about your childhood. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I was just like, whoa, what was that like? What was your 3rd grade teacher's name? And you're asking like great questions, but you're like, this guy's super interesting and he's really interested in me. And then their wife gets the version of like, so how was your day? Well, I went over to Cindy's. Yeah, that's cool. Hey, what do we got for dinner? You're like, that wouldn't even work on a first date.
Right.
At all.
It wouldn't. Yeah.
So it's like, it wouldn't work in an interview. It wouldn't work in anything.
What's really funny is, so like my kids are, I want to talk more really quickly about this before we get to the third dial. She's over there.
Okay.
Does she have to go to the bathroom?
No.
Dude, she's so happy. We're talking about the dog, by the way. So this was probably,
Good girl. Right here.
this was a while back, but so my boys are old enough now, especially my oldest. He listens to all my podcasts now.
Nice.
And he messaged me not too long ago. He's like, Dad, like literally I'm grossed out right now. I'm like, why? He's like, I just listened to this podcast. You're talking about like how you and Mom went out on this date, and you guys were asking all these great questions, and you were asking all these great questions, and you guys were really feeling like the chemistry and whatnot. And then you went out in the parking lot and had sex. And I'm like, yeah, that happened. He's like, what? I'm scarred for life. I was like, no, you're not. When you're married for 20 years and still having sex in the parking lot, that's a really good thing. I was like, I know you don't want to picture this because you're my son. Yeah. That's a really good thing. But the interesting, it is. I mean, like we've been married for as long as we have, but when we go out on these dates, like we're all in, and then we always come to the table with really good questions. And there was just one night, man, not too long ago, we're sitting there, having dinner, and she's like, do you want to go out in the parking lot and just fool around? And I'm like, yes, I do.
Yeah. The answer is always yes to that question.
Yes, I do.
Dude, it's the best because it's the stuff you did when you were dating.
It is, and it brings you back to those moments. And who's to say that that's off the table now, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be.
That's the narrative, though,
right.
dude.
That is the narrative.
It's like, who said that?
Right. Whoever said that needs to be shot immediately.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And then the dummies that we listened.
We did. Yeah.
So shoot us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like,
yeah.
So that's why, like, I think our message is so important because it's like, guys, you believed all this bullshit that has no bearing and no tie to anything except misery and death and rejection. And there's an easier way. In sense, it's like easier in the sense of it just works out better.
It does work out better. And I think when you trump someone else's belief on that, they first get pissed off. Yeah. Right? Because they've been buying into that story for so long. Like I've had clients in the past, one in particular that I can think of that, he was just like, well, we've been together for 19 years and, this is just what happens. And it's just the way it is. And this is, we don't have it. Who goes out on date nights? Nobody, like on and on and on. And I'm like, you really believe that? And he's like, well, yeah. And I go, how's it working out for you? Yeah. And you just tell, it's like, oh, and I always say, like, listen, man, I say that out of love for you. Like, this is why you're paying me, because I'm trying to help you. It's not because I'm trying to piss you off. It's just you're buying into a story that, quite frankly, it's not true. You're buying into the fiction version of what's happening. You can go into nonfiction and buy into another story, right? Because it doesn't have to be that way. So tell us about the next style.
Well, let's quote Jesus just because he's a good guy to quote.
Okay.
And he just said, you inspect the fruit.
Yeah.
So it's like Jesus used, like, I think the best analogies because he was just talking to people that actually walked by trees and were like, that's an orange fruit. That's an apple tree. Like, it was just so obvious. And yet we have guys that you go, hey, tell me about the fruit of your life right now. What's your sex life like? Oh, it sucks. I hate it. I always walk on eggshells. I get rejected all the time. I become a pouty little bitch. I don't know what to do. Okay. Well, so that's the fruit you have right now? Okay. Well, what are you doing? Well, I'm doing all the right things. That's impossible. You can't do the right things and get the wrong fruit. That's what Jesus taught us. Am I right? You like Jesus' words?
I do.
So do I. So that if you're experiencing anything in this and you're like, I don't like the fruit, what normally I think guys try and do, and I don't know where this mentality came from, but they're like, how can I get the fruit with the minimal amount of work and the minimal amount of money invested? And so a lot of guys are like, oh, I'm gonna try and figure this out on my own. Like, why don't you just have somebody that's figured out, look you straight in the eyes and listen to your words and go, this word, and this word means you believe this, this, and this. Because you believe this and this and this, you're behaving this way, and this way. And because you're behaving this way and this way and this way, you're getting this fruit. If you change this belief to this belief, you're going to change this behavior to this behavior. You're going to change this fruit to this fruit. Are you willing to maybe learn something here? Yes. Well, when you hate the fruit so bad, you're willing to, like, dude, failure is such a beautiful thing. Like, Jesse leaving me was the greatest thing that ever happened to me in my entire life, ever. It was the most painful thing, but it woke me up. I'll never become a Trevor. I'll never go back to that guy. I'll never not know why my sex life is the way it is. I'll always know. I can tell if Jesse's attracted to me or not attracted to me. I know because based on my behavior. So that's the punchline of all of it is I think that women lose attraction for their husband. And attraction means to lean in, not be repelled away. And it's not just, oh my God, I like his biceps and wow, I like his ass. It's, no, I like being around this guy. I like how I feel when I'm around this man. I like how he makes me feel about myself. Because a confident, certain woman is a woman that likes to get naked in bed. And a confident, certain woman only becomes confident, certain by having a guy that she can rely upon, lean on, and go, he's a great dad. Man, he's a great partner. He's a great producer. That's the third dial, producer dial. And guys are typically pretty good at this. But it's not just having a lot of money. It's actually not about having a lot of money. It's about being ambitious and driven to grow. There's something, I believe, wired into the fabric of a woman that says, I don't want to be in a one-bedroom apartment forever. A lot of guys, they're nodding their head like you are right now listening to this going, yeah, dude, my wife's like, hey, man, can we move? And I don't think women want to stay in cloth seat Corollas forever. They're like, dude, we got 6 kids. What are we going to do with these? Or we got 3. They're not going to fit in the back of a hatchback. Like, we got it. Like, they're almost like the ones pushing progress for men financially, sometimes a lot more than even men are. Have you noticed this?
Not until you just said it, but that makes total sense.
It's wired into them.
Well, I can understand that because it's like if you are a provider, one of the things that I think a lot of men get validation from, all of us, is being able to provide.
Yeah.
Right? And when we have to look our wives in the face and say, hey, we were able to do such and such, and you were a producer that provided that, that feels pretty damn good.
Feels amazing.
It does.
But, go ahead.
Well, the only other thing I was going to say was, I think without that woman, and I would even say the absence of a connected relationship, well, then we're talking about like, well, I'm going to go spend my time with fantasy football.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, right? I don't think, as long as you have balance. But what I do have a problem with is when all this other crap in your life is broken and you're spending, 10 hours a week on your fantasy football league.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I see people wearing football jerseys and talking about fantasy football, this is going to probably rub a couple guys wrong, and that's okay. I got it.
You've already pissed off half the audience.
Yeah,
but it's okay.
I used to watch like 16 hours of football on a weekend. Like that's only like 5 games.
Yeah.
And so it's not like it doesn't even seem like it's that lot, but that's a lot of time. And it looks like Halloween when guys are running around with like football jerseys on and talking stats. It's like, oh, you got your costume on. Good job. But guess what? Your wife doesn't like you. So I have friends that love football. I don't care. I like watching UFC. They can make fun of me for watching 4 hours of UFC on a Saturday night. So I understand it goes both ways. But that being said, is this desire for a woman to see her man growing and pushing and being ambitious, because that she goes, oh, he's going to secure resources. This is why when I say it's wired in, like the scientific the psychological terminology for it is called hypergamy. And hypergamy is, it's not that she's a money-grubbing gold digger, I got to have better, blah, blah, blah. There are women like that, of course. But the hypergamy is like, are you my best option to have the resources that we need to not only survive, but to thrive? I believe every woman is unconsciously asking themselves that at a core level. I just feel like the data and the science lines up with that. Even if I'm wrong, but I still believe that, I'm going to be way more advantageous in my life. It's way more advantageous to believe that than to not believe that. Whether it's right or wrong, what's the advantage? The advantage is, well, she wants to know that her kids are going to be taken care of, that the little ducklings are going to have plenty of food to eat, and that they're going to have a nice nest for them to grow and to, be nurtured. So that's where this all comes from. Now, in our society, money is status. Like, you have more money, you have more status. It is what it is. Not always, because some guys, you got billionaires that don't want anybody to know anything about their status. But in our culture, for the most part, a lot of stuff is done by status, good status and bad status. But that being said, women don't want to be with a man of lower status than themselves. And so if a woman's working on herself and growing and staying fit and all the things, and then her man is not really advancing forward in his career in any way, shape, or form, she's kind of wondering, why is she settling for him? And that's just a huge turnoff. So the attraction, what happens, this is my opinion, but I think it's real, and because I just see it happening. A woman is attracted to a man at the beginning. The reason why we're so successful in people getting their ex back or getting the sex back is for one reason. You're her type. She picked you in the beginning. You already know you're her type. You don't have to wonder if you are her type. You are. You just have to become the best version of your type and not become a less version. So what happens is she meets this guy, and all of her, I don't think attraction is a choice. Your wife didn't choose to be attracted to you. She was attracted to you, and she felt it. I believe the same thing. You didn't choose to be attracted to your wife. You just felt it. There was probably other women that walked by and you didn't feel attracted to them, but her, you're like, damn, dude.
Oh, I couldn't keep my eyes off her.
Yeah.
For like months.
Dude, it's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the greatest feeling on planet Earth.
Yeah.
So what happens is she's attracted to you because you were doing attractive things and you weren't doing unattractive things. And so her attractive bucket was full of these juices. Then you start doing unattractive things and you stop doing attractive things. And mechanically, the juice just starts flowing out of her. And she goes, I don't understand it. Like, she calls her mom, I don't know, I just don't feel it for him anymore. I love him, but I'm not in love with him.
Oh, heard that a million times.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a real feeling for them.
Mm-hmm.
The feeling of being in love and the feeling of butterflies when you're texting, and the feeling of I can't wait to hang out with this guy, and the feeling with, oh my God, we're going on vacation, hotel sex is the best sex. Like those are real feelings that a woman actually feels. But the reason she feels them is because of that chemical that goes away, because she goes, he's not attractive anymore. I want to feel those things, but I can't because you're no longer pushing yourself in your career. And now we're done in a 2-bedroom apartment? Like this is as far as we're getting? Like nobody wants that. A woman doesn't want that. So this thing about having resources is actually a really big thing. But most guys pretty much nail this dial because we think, hey, I protect, I provide, I produce. Where's my sex? We're like, well, dude, you're only a 20% man if that's all you do. So
that's a really low F, by the way.
That's an F minus for sure. That's an F minus for sure.
The thing that, so that dial in particular, like when I was in the when I was in the audience, when you were speaking, and I was looking at that, and I was like, well, of course that's the easiest one to hit, because that's where we get measured and validated easiest. I mean, your annual review. I know exactly where I need to work. I know where I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Right. I know if I'm in sales, I'm hitting my quota or I'm not. If I'm in IT, I'm logging this and getting this project done or I'm not. Like the engineer, I'm getting the project done or I'm not. You know, with relationships, it's very hard. You know, it's not like you sit down and be like, can you give me our annual review? Right. And it's hard to measure. It's very dynamic. It's ever flowing. Right. So for guys, they're probably scratching their head being like, I'm not exactly sure how to measure these things. But the 5 dials, I think, really do a good job of that.
Thank you, man.
So I think, the producer thing, guys probably have that one. And then the next one is player.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So these are the 2 dials that, and I know we're kind of getting on our time here. So this has been such a fun podcast, man. I really enjoyed it. I'm
good on time. I mean, this is too good. So,
okay, cool. So the player dial, these next 2 dials are the ones I think the guys actually misstep on the most. So the player dial it brings up a couple of things and images in a guys when they hear it. For me, when I hear of a player, I think of the guy in high school that got all the chicks. I go, oh, he's the man that gets all the chicks. So that kind of comes up for me. The player dial represents, playfulness, having fun. Like creating a container of fun. Even if you're not a funny guy, like you don't have to be a stand-up comedian, busting jokes all the time. But, dude, every dating experience started because they thought it would be fun.
Yeah.
Everyone. Oh, that'd be fun to hang out with her. It'd be fun to hang out with him. Okay, cool. Well, if you lose the fun, then you've almost lost everything. That's why I came up with a concept called fun is the fountainhead. So remember when Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things shall be added unto you. I've got a quote like him, and it's, if fun is the fountainhead, if you nail fun, all these things will be added unto you. Nobody said, you know what, I'm getting over all of this trauma for having too much fun with my spouse. They're the exact opposite spectrum. Trauma and fun are totally opposites. And so when I talk about fun being the fountainhead and the player dial, and why fun is so important, is because if you look back to every great memory you had, it was fun, other than probably having babies, which is still fun, but there's a lot of pain involved in it. And pain doesn't mean the absence of fun, or fun doesn't mean the absence of pain. How much fun was it, when you got to do some hard things with your buddies? That was fun. But the bottom line is like the player says, you know what? I'm going to stay in shape. I'm going to be in the best shape I can possibly be. I'm going to wear clothes that fit. I'm going to smell good. I'm going to shower. We had a guy came into married game. He's like, dude, I was just showering like once a week. I go, dude, that's fucking disgusting. No wonder your wife doesn't want to hang out with you. Like, this is duh. Okay. Do you plan fun dates? Back in the beginning, everything was fun. You know what I mean? So it's this, and I always like to quote the great American poet Cyndi Lauper when she said, "Girls just want to have fun." That's the, like, she just nailed women. She goes, "Hey guys, listen up. Girls just want to have fun." And when they get into mom mode with PTA meetings and stepping on Legos and formula and changing diapers and all the shit they deal with, they don't feel very sexy in mom mode. So that's why we take them out. What's that?
Is that because they're in their masculine when that kind of stuff's going on? Like they're in task mode, they're mom mode, and that's just not fun.
Yeah, they're handling shit.
Yeah,
they got to be on top of their game. They're focused. Their energy is poured into something different than how erotic do I look right now? How much fun am I having? You know what I'm saying? Right. It's just a different energy. Yeah. It's a different game. And so what happens is we want to take her out of mom mode, and we want to take her back to that fun filly that we asked on a date, and next thing you know, we got lost in Walmart looking for something as a prank, and next thing you know, we're eating red vines, and we're cutting them into straws and drinking soda pop out of them like we were when kids. You know what I mean? Like we did a lot of shit when we were dating that was just fun. Anything was a date. Hey man, I'm a little sick. We should go to the grocery store and get some Sudafed. It's a date.
Yeah, let's go.
We jump in and we go, right? So there's this rhythm of dating that is fun, and we take her out of mom mode and we take her back into that sexy vixen that we met her in. Well, that sexy vixen, that mode, she's thinking differently about you. She's raising her eyebrow like you just did. Yeah, she's doing that. So it's like, it's our job as men to take her and go, hey, I got a babysitter. We got a this. We got a that. Let's go back and she wants to connect. And when Jessie ever feels like this is lacking, she just goes, hey, I need a little romance. I go, got it. So date nights are, like you said, they're non-negotiable. For us, we always do one fun date night where it's like, probably involves an espresso martini or two, and it's fun. We love like staycations, going overnight. We went and saw Coldplay and just got a hotel up in Hollywood. Oh, it was the most epic
It's one of
concert.
our bucket list bands right there.
Dude, it was the best concert I've ever been to. I've been to a bunch, and she's been to even more. And she goes, that was my favorite concert. It was just totally badass. But we got to stay one night up there, stay at the SLS, get room service. Hotel sex is the best. She's not thinking about kids or that. She's just thinking, oh, yeah, I remember what it's like to kind of let my inner slut out. I'm gonna let that girl out. So I believe there's an inner slut in every woman wanting to come out.
Oh, yeah.
And if a guy knows how to bring her out, he's the happiest guy alive. And she's the happiest girl alive.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you do the right, I'm a big proponent of, identifying burnout with my wife, or guys to be on the lookout for that in general. I mean, as you're saying those things, I'm thinking of Jessica at home in her yoga pants, no makeup on, with her hair up, stepping on Legos, tripping over shoes, about ready to kill kids that aren't in the house yet, that kind of thing. Yeah. And she always tells me, she's like, one of the sexiest things you do is if I get a text from you, be ready by 6. I got the evening planned. Babysitter's booked. Yeah. Like, just take charge, right? Yeah. And I think you're right. I mean, the other thing too is like, so she doesn't know this yet, but I think a lot of us think that a hotel room equals, for some really weird reason, you have to stay the whole night. Mm-hmm. I don't know why people think that. Oh, if we get a hotel, we have to sleep there. No, you don't. Yeah. Well, the front desk people, like, they don't give a shit. Like, you know what I mean? I can't even tell you like how many times. And tomorrow night's going to be another one where I already booked the hotel. It's going to be right next to this restaurant that she wants to go try. Yeah. And she'd be like, what do we do next? I'd be like, I know what we're doing next. And because she loves that. She's like, if I feel like we're doing something really bad, I'm like, it's because we got our, but it's fun. It's like right in line with that player thing. Yeah. And then you don't have to be mom and dad for that evening. And it's just, you get back to like, this is kind of how we were in college. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it just brings those things back. But I think a lot of us, maybe the perception is, well, Keith, like, I haven't been that guy in so long. So if I do something like that, she's going to think I'm weird. She's going to say no. Right. Yeah. I think I guarantee there's a lot of fear with some of the guys you work with. Like when they say, they're like, I don't know if I could do that. She might like think something's weird or up, or she might say no. What advice do you give for guys like that? Okay. So, it's mandatory for date night. Yeah. Like so Jesse and I, we do one night a week, and then we do a logistics meeting, which is like a 30-minute breakfast or 45-minute breakfast. I have one of our little favorite breakfast spots, and that's where we pull out the calendars and go, all right, gymnastics, what's coming up, live event. So we get the logistics stuff so that doesn't bleed into our date night, because date night's like, let's blow out the pipes. Date can be lunch, can be breakfast. It can just be 30 minutes where we dedicate. We're going to look at our schedules and make sure everything logistically, we know where we're supposed to be. That was a really huge point for us to be able to keep date night, like, not like, okay, so what's going on with you? I want date night to be like just me and my slutty ass wife. You know what I mean? And I want her being with Sancho. Like, we're going to go have a lot of fun. Not Trevor. Not Trevor, dude. We're going Sancho on this one. So that's that. That's the first thing. Second thing is, I tell guys, hey, invite your wife on a date. And sometimes they say no. I say, go anyway. They go, what are you talking about? I said, go anyway. You're not going to be able to talk her into believing that you're a fun guy. She has to see it, and you have to become it. So I go, if you go, hey, there's a great comedian coming to town. I got us 2 tickets. I can get the babysitter. And she goes, oh, I don't really want to go. Because that happens. Some of these guys are in some deep-ass pits, dude. And he goes, okay, cool. No problem. I'm going. What? You're going with me? Yeah. I prioritize fun in my life for me.
And I'm inviting you to come. You don't have to come with me, but I'm coming. I'm going because I love stand-up comedy. I love live music. I want to check out this new bar. I want to, whatever it is, you have to become this person. And there's guys, they've never gone more than 3 weeks where the wife's not finally on week 3 or week 4 go, all right, I'm coming with you.
All right, I'm going.
Yeah. Because now she realizes this isn't just something, because what are they thinking? Oh, he wants date night so he can get laid.
Right. There's an agenda.
There's an agenda. Oh, look at all this taker energy coming. And women are bloodhounds, man. They can smell that. They can smell that shit from a mile away. They're like, oh yeah, you want my vagina? Cool, yeah. Oh, you're gonna put in some more. Oh, aren't you cute? They're like, no, I'm not having it. So you have to actually just establish. No, once a week I go out and have fun. So that's what I tell the guys, and they go, are you sure? I go, trust me, I'm 100% sure. Do you want to have more fun in your life? Yeah, of course I do. Then go take yourself on a date and invite her with you. And if she doesn't want to go, then she doesn't get the privilege of going on this amazing. So you better make it cool, or else you're going to go do something boring by yourself. So, and when I talk about like the standard, I have guys go through this exercise, and you probably heard me say this at Josiah's event, where I say, imagine right now you're single, like everything's the same in your life except you're single, and your high school crush, who you totally wanted to bone, but either did or didn't. For me, I didn't. Kristen Bennett, algebra class, head cheerleader, did not bone her.
She's actually a part of our audience.
She's a part. Kristen, Jesse is dying to meet you because I talk about you all the time because I told the story a million times. But I go, imagine the crush from high school shows up in your DMs and goes, wow, life looks amazing for you. You're doing great. Let's catch up. And you go, perfect. It's a date. How would you show up to that? Dude, you'd be planning, you'd be making sure you're not wearing your pleated khakis, like you wouldn't be wearing a sport coat 3 sizes too big, you'd be doing your push-ups, you'd be smelling good, you'd be, okay, we're going to go here, then we're going to go here. But all of everything you're doing is summed up with one word, effort. Mm-hmm. You're putting in effort, and that's all actually a woman wants to see, is that you put in a little effort. And so if that's the standard, and you start putting that effort in, they'll come around, because every woman wants to be romanced.
The story I'm telling myself is your client that only showered once a week would probably shower.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the player dial. It's the showering, smelling good. Find out, ask your wife, what turns you on? Well, you not being a dickhead, you actually showing up and actually treating me like a priority, like those types of things. But the player dial is, I want to have fun, and not everybody's that fun. So sometimes you have to go take them into creator of fun, the container of fun. Like, so for me, my man cave is a lot of fun. We can shoot pool, we can blast the music, we can smoke cigars or weed or alcohol, whatever we want in here, and just have a totally good time. So but also, my wife goes, hey, my friend's performing at this like local fair, and her band's gonna be performing there. And I'm like, oh God, dude, I don't want to go to that. Like, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me. But she's going crazy. So that's the container of fun. So what I do, I went there and I showed up all the way. What are we doing? We getting pretzels? You guys want something? Let me get you something. Jovi, you want to go on? Have you seen fair rides nowadays, dude? They look dangerous as shit, dude.
Oh, the rides at a fair?
Yeah, like the zipper and the fairs. They look so dangerous.
Well, as a kid, you're like, I want to go on that. Now you're like, I might die.
That's exactly right. So that was me a month ago. Her friend was performing at the show, and she was super excited. I'm like, all right, let's go. And I'm like, I'll take Jovi on the ride. So I'm like, Jovi, you want to go? She goes, I want to go on that one. I'm like, all right, cool. So I wasn't just there like, oh, your thing. I was like, okay. I acted as if I was really into it, not because I was into it, but I'm into Jessie, and she was into it. Like, I wouldn't want her to go to, let's say, a UFC match, and her just be like, is it over yet? Yeah. Is it done yet? I'd be like, dude, fucking go home. So you don't want, but a lot of guys do that. They just show up, but they're just like, hey, I'm here. No, be there, man. Be all in and like lead the party. We always just say, be the party within the party. Mm-hmm. If I'm at a wedding, everyone wants to sit at my table. Why? Because we're going to have a lot of fun. Because I have consciously thought of games that would be fun for sitting at tables. That or stories. Tell us the story. Oh my God, that guy's the best storyteller. Tell us the story. And how to engage. Hey, what do you like? Actually be a social animal. Like, there's a lot of these skills that are, they're sub skills that you need to learn. But the bottom line is, if you're not that fun, take her to environments where she has fun. So there's no excuse.
Like that.
That's the player dial.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last one is which one?
The power dial.
The power. Okay, so is power associated with confidence?
Yes.
And then also power, like, so like for instance, your example of, I'm going to go do this. Would you like to come with me? Or like, hey, and if you're going to go do it anyway, right?
Yeah.
Versus like, well, she doesn't want to, so I'm not,
Yeah.
right? So tell me more about power.
I'm gonna give you a funny story.
Please.
Okay, so a guy came into our program, and he's like, "Man, I really wanted to go shoot pool with my buddies, but I also wanted to get laid. So I decided to stay home, and then I got laid." I go, "Oh, cool. Why didn't you just have sex and then just be like, all right, I'm gonna go shoot pool with my buddies?" And he goes, "Oh my God. Like, did it not occur to you that you could have sex and then be done having sex and then go shoot pool with your buddies and come home later?" He's like, "No." But he goes, "That's so simple. Why wouldn't I have thought about that?" I don't know. Do you, just because you have sex, you have to sleep next to her? Like same thing like the hotel room. Like, hey, we can have sex and then just leave.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Jesse have checked in, done it for an hour in the middle of the day, and just left. So I know we're driving. We're like, dude, we can do it in the back of the car, which is not bad, and we do that. But it's like, dude, there's a Hilton right there.
Yeah,
Let's just pull in and pay the $269 and really have fun and then leave. So it's like sometimes we just don't understand, like, you can do these things. So the power dial is, there's a couple questions we ask within the power dial, and that is, do you do your personal development for you and you alone, and do you get butthurt if she doesn't notice? Because now a man in his power does it because that's what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do it be like, hey, did you see what I did? She's like, no, I don't, because you don't need validation. The best analogy for the power dial is you go from being the interviewer, or rather the interviewee, to the interviewer. A man in his power is not like, I hope she likes me. A man in his power is like, I am amazing. I'm incredibly likable. And I'm inviting you to be a part. I call it the empowered invitation. I'm empowered by inviting you into my world. And the only way a girl would want to leave her world to be in my world is because my world's better.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like that. There's no other way to say it. Like, nobody leaves a less world or a better world to go to a less world. They go from a less world to a better world. So create a better world, which means, yeah, I like validation from you. I love when my wife validates me. It's awesome, but I don't need it. So that we have guys ask question literally every single night. Number one, did you do what you said you can do when you said you can do it without fault? That's the overarching thing. And my wife would be like, she always gives the analogy of, hey, can you hang this painting in the hallway? And it took me like 3 months to hang it. She's like, I couldn't even trust you.
I remember that. I remember a story like that at the thing. And keep going.
It's the same. It's it's I'm gonna be home at this time, and then I'm not. I'll swing by the store and pick you up something, and then I got busy. I forgot. Sorry, I'm late. It's like, are you here? Are you standing in your power? And so the questions we ask, like, do you do your personal development for yourself, or do you need her to validate you? Do you edit or audit your shine because you're afraid to upset the apple cart? You know what I mean? Like, I have a cowboy hat, like, I just new thing, and Jesse's like, she could take it or leave it, but she knows how happy it is. So even if she's like, I really don't like your cowboy hat, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'll never wear that. Like, my short shorts are a really great example. She's not a huge fan of my short shorts, but I got great legs. I like my short shorts. I feel amazing in my short shorts. And for me to go work out in short shorts, I'm not working out there for you. I'm working out for me. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm not going to edit or audit my shine, or guys won't actually say what they really believe because they're afraid. Most guys are just getting crumbs, like intimacy crumbs. So they're like, dude, if I upset the apple cart, I might not even get laid. I'm only getting laid once a month or like once every other week. And if I piss her off, that's going to go away. So they're like, don't piss her off. What? What are you talking about? Like, say what you believe. Actually have a belief. That's attractive for you to go, I believe this. Oh, you don't? Like, I believe in a creator. I believe my creator speaks to me. I spend every Sunday night over on that couch for 3 hours and only communicate with my creator. Like, that, I get my downloads. It's been life-changing. I'm on month 47, and I've never missed that meeting. I never miss my meeting with my creator. It has not happened in 47 months. Every single Sunday night, I'm right there. So, or in my house or whatever, because I've only had this thing for about a year and a half. But that being said, Jessie doesn't believe in a creator. She's the only person I also know that doesn't have guilt and shame. She's like, you think a man in the sky is mad at you? I go, it's a long story. I was raised a certain way. She goes, oh, I've never thought that. I go, okay, cool. But she goes, but you're a better person for what you believe. And I go, well, you're a really good person for what you believe.
That's really powerful.
Like, I feel no need to convince her to believe what I believe. Because she's the greatest human being I've ever met.
Yeah.
So why would I want to change her? Same with me. She goes, your beliefs are a little kooky based on what she grew up with. She grew up with a dad in a rock band that traveled with Motley Crue. Like, that's a different. Her uncle managed Motorhead, one of the greatest rock bands of all time. Totally different. But she goes, you're a better human being for it.
There's something to be said for that. Like, hey, I don't believe what you believe in, but I appreciate the output from it, right?
Yeah.
You know, I see like this tremendous vicious cycle with this last one, and that is and I love that term of edit. Well, if I do it this way and I piss her off, then, you know, we're not going to have sex, and I'm okay with having sex because at least I know I get it every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. And I think women can sense that, and it's just as unattractive as not showing up, right? Because now it's like, it comes across as more like this delicate flower that now I have to manage, and it's more work. So I have a funny story that might hit this home for you.
Let's go.
So we have this guy, we'll just call him John. Okay. He didn't join our program. He applied for it, met with our team, didn't join it, and then he messaged me. And he's like, hey man, I just want to let you know, and this is all over typing. I just want to let you know I met with the team, and I ran this past my wife, and she's just not on board with it. And I just got really curious, and I'm like, oh, well, tell me more. And he's like, yeah, you know, she, her belief, and this is a woman who is really into personal development herself, right? Because our team takes notes on all the guys that come in and what their feedback is and that kind of thing. And his wife was all about personal development. She's doing her own thing. She has a coach and all this stuff, and he's not doing anything. So he wants to come and do life with us. And he's like, yeah, you know, she just kind of thinks that if I come in and, you know, do this program, then I'm only going to be validated for poor behavior. And I'm like, that's really funny. I was like, 'cause we're quite the opposite.
Yeah.
We're going to call you out on your BS pretty quickly. And we do it, you know, we do it in a respectful way. We're not going to let you slide. Well, I like to make messages more personal, so I'll hit up an audio. So I was just like, hey man, like, I get it, you know, that's really unfortunate. I was like, but you know, if anything ever changes, we're always here. Well, then he messaged me and he's like, yeah, you know, I don't want to make her mad, you know, like things are kind of really, you know, like it's just in the tone in this guy's voice. I was like, okay. And there it is.
Yeah, it is.
Right there.
Power dial.
And I'm sitting there thinking like, no wonder, like if this is how you're showing up, and I'm not saying you have to be a dick, right? Cause that's not what it's about.
Not at all.
But if you're like, oh, like, I just don't know. Like, I'm okay with this. And I'm just like, dude, and I could see it. And there's a part of me, man, like my heart just bled for this guy.
For real.
Because I'm like, because the part of me was just like, okay, dude, like, let me tell you my opinion here, which is, first of all, you got to fix your voice tone. You can't be talking like this. You can't have a mentality like this. This is not attractive to your wife whatsoever. Yeah. But I didn't. I was just like, hey, you know, if things change, man, let me know. In other words, if you come around and it was hearing his voice. It was just like, wow, that it was very obvious of what the problem, probably one of many problems are, but it was right there.
Well, and most women don't actually have, they're like, I don't see a problem in our sex life. I'm fine.
Right. Well, of course, they don't want a guy like that.
So why are you going to go spend a bunch of money fixing it? We don't have a problem.
Right.
Because a guy edited and audited what he really believes. And he's like, actually, I feel radically rejected. I feel like less of a man. So what happens is he goes into interviewee role. She's the interviewer. And he's just hoping to get picked. And I tell guys, I said, listen, if you're going to always act like a dog outside the sliding glass door in the rain, hoping that she opens the door to get in, you're going to be out there for a long time. You're going to be out there for a really long time. So another one of the questions is do you not ask for sex out of fear of rejection? which most guys do, because a lot of guys that show up at married game door are like, dude, I don't even, I'm so rejected.
I don't want to ask. Yeah.
I know guys that you and I both know that have been rejected for so long, and then they fix things, but that's still a deep thing within them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I give them special little pros. We have Operation Gorilla, and there's all these different like ways of overcoming it, but it's mainly not overcoming a woman. It's overcoming this fear inside of you. The questions of, you know, do not ask for fear of rejection, and then if you do ask, if you do get rejected, do you act like a pouty little bitch?
Which is insanely unattractive. Yeah. So that, you know, I'll admit, man, that used to be me, you know, 10 years ago.
Me too, man.
Like, it just, like, it's almost like I get pissed, you know? Like, I think maybe a lot of guys, I'm sure a lot of guys go through that. But now it's like, I know for a fact that one of the most attractive things that I can do is if I want sex and she's like, I'm really not in the mood. And I'm like, cool. Yeah. I mean, luckily we're at this point where, and I think a lot of it just has to, I know a lot of it has to do with the work we have both done, because our sex lives, man, our desire for each other is right there. It's equal. So she pursues me as much as I pursue her. Yeah. You know, and everything in between. Like,
that's such a joy.
It is. I mean, like, even this last Saturday, you know, we were, the kids were, my little guy's playing on the family room floor. My other one is playing PlayStation, and the other two were out. And she and I think I was reading or something on the dining room table. She came up behind me. She's like, let's go have sex in the closet real quick. Come on. Yeah. So, and we did. I was like, okay. You know, we did. Best, but dude. It is. That's
what every guy wants.
But here's the thing. It doesn't just happen.
No.
All of these things that you're talking about, that we're talking about, these are the things that need to happen to get there. And I think what a lot of people do is they look at it and be like, well, we've been married for this long, so that just doesn't happen anymore. Yeah. Or we have such a track record of all this stuff, you know, then we're not going to fix it. Or the 5 dials, that one for me is like the biggest mirror. To just be able to be like, okay, and here they are. For me, like when I took the 5 dials, I actually did pretty well, and I actually had Jessica take the 5 dials for me.
Nice.
And she gave me a higher score than I gave myself.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
probably why you're having sex in the closet.
Right. But we both agreed that the player dial for me was the one. She's like, that's the one you could improve upon, if anything. And I was like, well, tell me more about that. She's like, well, you're like a grinder. You're a workhorse, and you were just type A. Like, and you know, you're always working, you're always going, and like, you don't settle. She's like, that's also your Achilles heel, because sometimes I feel like that drives the fun out of you, because you're so driven and you want to do things. And I'm like, that's a really good point. Yeah. So that's something ever since March that I'm like, how do we have fun more? Like, right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.